How many times you have built a feature that nobody actually wanted? What if your users could tell you exactly what to build next? Well, in this video, we are going to build a production-ready feedback fusion platform. It's a complete Next.js 16 full stack feedback and a voting system that you can deploy today and start collecting real user feedbacks tomorrow. Here is a powerful tech stack that we will be using. So we will be using Next.js 16 app router with server component and layout. Next, we will be using React 19 for enhanced form handling and state management. After that, we will be using the PostgreSQL database with Prisma ORM. Next, we will be using Clerk for user management and the application authentication. After that, we will be using SignIn UI, which will allow us to build modern user interface. And last, we will be using Vercel that will allow us for a one-click production deployment. Let me show you the demo of the application that we will be building. So we have this beautiful landing page with a toggle theme. Now here you can navigate to a feedback page to see the list of available feedbacks based on categories. Each feedback has a status and a category badge to which it belongs. If you want to write a new feedback or vote any feedback, you need to register yourself using Clerk Authentication component. Once an account is created, you can manage your profile and update your profile picture. Next, you can vote or unvote for any feedback which you like. Now, if you want to write a new feedback, you can navigate to the new feedback page. Enter title, choose a category, and add description. Click on the submit and your feedback is submitted in a real time. Next is the roadmap page, which shows you a complete dashboard for the feedback and their status. You can also see the stats, the vote count, average vote count, along with the progress of the feedback. Now this gives you a holistic view of all the feedbacks that are under review, in progress, planned or completed. We also have this admin dashboard where a feedback status can be changed, and this is only available to the admin. As soon as a feedback status is changed, the values are updated immediately on the roadmap page. By the end of this video, you will have a fully functional feedback fusion platform. So if this sounds interesting, then stick around. Also, don't forget to subscribe the channel or press the bell icon so that you don't miss the videos like this one. So let's get started. Alright guys, so before we start working on our application, let's go through some slides and let's understand what project we are going to build about. So here you will see that we are going to build the Next.js product feedback platform where a logged in user can write a feedback and vote on any of the feedback. So we divide this application into the front-end part and the back-end part of it. And our application is deployed on Vercel, so it's on the feedback fusion platform.vercel.app. Now let's take a deeper look. So here we are going to have the backend side. We will be having the Next.js APIs that we are going to create. We will be having Clerk proxy. So Clerk is the authentication and the user management platform that we are going to use. Then we will be having the lib folder, which is going to contain some utilities, and then we have the Prisma. So we will be using the Prisma ORM to connect with our database that will be the Postgres SQL. Now on the front end side, we will be having the Next.js React that we will be using. We will be having the Clerk authentication, the SignIn and the SignOut pages. Then we will have our app router, which is going to have our different pages. We will be using SignIn UI for our components and styling, and then we will be having the Tailwind CSS for having the styling classes. Now next we will see that these are the modules we have in our project, like the auth and API routes. So the auth will contain the sign in and the sign up pages. These are the customized pages we will be creating, which will be in the background be using the Clerk authentication. For API routes, we will be having the feedback API where you will get all the feedbacks. Then we will be having the status of the feedback where admin user can change the status of the feedback. We will be having the votes API where a user can vote any of the feedback. After that, we will be having the main and the lib module. In the main, we will be having different pages like the feedback page, new feedback, roadmap page, and the admin page. And for the lib, the helper functions, we are going to have the Prisma, and we will be having a sync user utility that is going to sync the user we create in the Clerk with our Postgres database. After that, we will be having all the components, which will contain the SignIn UI components as well as the components that we are going to create. And last, we have some data. This is the helper data for the categories, for which categories you can create the feedback and then you will have the statuses. So if you create a feedback, what could be the status of that feedback? Here is a detailed view of the feedback. Like you will have the category, you can create a feature feedback, improvement feedback, bug feedback, design or other. And for every feedback you will be having a status. So when you create a new feedback, it will be under review, then admin can change it to the planned, in progress and can complete. And we have a beautiful dashboard to see all that. All right, so now we have the basic understanding for our application. Next, let's go to the Visual Studio Code, and here what I will do is first let's bootstrap our application. So we will be using npx create next app, we will be having latest, and let's give the application name as feedback fusion. So I'm going to hit enter, and here I will just go with the recommended settings. So I'm not going to change anything. So it is going to install all the dependencies and the dev dependencies, and then it's going to give us the complete Next.js project. So we have our project. Let's open that project into Visual Studio Code. So here is our project. Let me give you a quick walkthrough of it. So we have this tsconfig JSON file, which is the standard TypeScript config we required for our project. We have the post CSS for our Tailwind CSS. Then we have the package.json file, which contains the dependencies. So we will be using Next.16, and then we will be having the React.js for the version 19. And here you will see the dev dependencies. After that, we will be having the next config, which is going to have any additional configuration for our Next.js app. We can add it here. Then we have the git ignore. The public folder will contain all the files and images which are publicly accessible and the static assets. Then we have this app router. Now in the app router, we have our main layout for our application, and then we have the page.tsx, which is the home page. We can also run this application on the local server. So we will be having npm run dev, and this is going to start my application on the localhost 3000. So we can go to the localhost 3000, and then we see our application here. All right, and this is what our application, the Fusion platform, looks like. So we will be building this. Now what we do is we see here we get an error here, and that is the hydration error. So what you can do is you can just go to your layout, and in your layout here you can just use the suppress hydration warning, so you will not get such warnings. So if we go and check, now we don't have any warnings. Now the next thing what we will do is we are just going to clear everything. So I will just remove all from here. So I will remove this, and I'm going to simply have the home page here. I will also remove this. We don't want them. And in the layout, what we will do is we are going to remove everything here what we have. So I will go here and I will remove all this. We don't want them. Now here you will see that you have, it's complaining that cannot find the module or the type declaration for side effect import of global CSS. Now what you can do is in order to tell your TypeScript about your CSS, you need to add a declaration file. So what I will do is I will just minimize this. I will go to the root, and inside the root I can create a file as declaration.d.ts, and here you can just have declare your module. So I will have the declare module, and I will use the asterisk.css. Okay, so that's what you need to do it. Now if we go here, then you will see that we don't have any errors here. Okay, because we have told our TypeScript that this is what our CSS declaration looks like. All right, so we have this one. Now the next part what we need to do is we need to install the dependencies that we will be required for this project. So here you can do npm install, and the first thing you will need to install is Prisma, because we will be using the Prisma and PostgreSQL. So I will have the Prisma. With that, we will also need to have the Prisma client. So I will have the Prisma client, and since we are going to use the latest version of the Prisma, so we will also need the Prisma adapter. I'm going to tell you in some time what this Prisma adapter is. So we will be having the Prisma adapter for our Postgres database. So we will be using PG. I will also be using the date FNS package. This will be helping me to play with the dates. If I need to transform the dates for the feedback, like the feedback was created 7 days ago, 10 days ago, so I will be using that date FNS. Now along with that, we will also need the Lucid React so that we can get all the beautiful icons for our project. So I'm going to hit enter. So all the packages has been installed, and we can also go and verify them in our package.json file. So if I go here, then you will see that we have everything here in the package.json file. Now we will also be using the shed cn. So let's install that. So I will be having the npm install. We will be having the shed cn @latest. Now if you want to go and see how to install it, you can just follow the documentation here. So I will go to the shed cn UI, and if I go here, let's go to the docs and let's go to the installation in the Next.js. So you can simply use this. So you have the npm and you can simply use this to init in the project. So I will go here and first I'm going to hit enter, and after that what we will do is now we can just make use of this npx setcn init. So that is going to initialize the setcn in our project. So I'm going to hit enter, and this is going to ask which theme we need to use it. So I will be using the slate as a theme or the base color. So I'm going to hit enter, and we have successfully installed the setcn in our project. So we have the initiated, we have this component JSON file which is going to contain all the basic metadata that is required for the setcn library to use it in the project. Now let's install some components that we will be using for the setcn. So I will be using like npx, we can have the shed cn, then we need to have the latest, and then you can add whatever you want to add. So we will be using the button from the setcn, then we will be using card, input, text area, badge, we will be using avatar, we will be having the drop down menu, and we will be using a sonar for our toast component. So I'm going to hit enter, and during the project while building, if we need more components from the setcn UI, we can just install them at any time. So I'm going to hit enter for now, this one. All right, so maybe I did a mistake for the drop down menu, so let's go and fix that. So what I will do is this is going to be drop down and I have to remove this. I'm going to hit enter, and now it's saying that it's checking registry and installing all the dependencies for our project. So here we have all the components, button, card, and everything. Now what we will do next is we will set up the Prisma ORM into our project. So for that one, what you have to do is first you will go here and then you will create a new folder and you will name the folder as Prisma. So I will have the Prisma, and inside the Prisma we will be creating the schema. So what I will do is I will go here, and here I'm going to have the name as schema.prisma, and here we can have our Prisma schema. But before we go and write anything into Prisma schema, I will show you the schema that we want to create. So if I go here and I will have the Prisma IO, and here you can just directly create the database. So if I click on the create database, then it will land you here, and here I'm going to show you how the post schema looks like. So if I go here, studio, I go to the visualizer, and here you will see that this is how our schema looks like. So if I zoom in a little bit, then we are going to have our post where we will be having the author ID, category, description, title, and everything. We will be having the users, and then we will be having the votes that we are going to apply on the post. And here you will see that this is the relation between the post and the user. It's 1 to n. A single user can create multiple posts and a single user can create multiple votes. So let's create the schema. And the other thing you need to understand is that how we can connect the Prisma ORM with Prisma Postgres with Next.js. So here you will find a complete guide and a documentation that how you can use it. So we have already installed the Prisma adapter for Postgres, and we have the Prisma client as well. Along with we also have the Prisma. After that, what we will do is we are going to create our schema part. So here is how the schema looks like. So we are going to create a schema, something similar to that, but we will also need to create the Prisma config. So if I scroll down, then here you will see that you have a Prisma config.ts file, which is going to have all the information. And you need to create this Prisma config if you are using the version higher than 7. All right. So let's go back and let's do that. So I'm going to go here, and here I'm going to have the prisma.config.ts. All right, and I will do a copy paste. So I will go here and I'm simply going to copy this config, and let's add the config here. Now here what we will do is for the migration, we are not going to do any migration part because we will be using the same database while we develop it on the local and when we deploy it on the Vercel. So for now you can just comment this part. We don't need that. Okay, we will need the data source, and we will be having the env, and we keep it here as a data source. Now we need to have the data source. So for that we need to create the .env file. So I will go here and I'm going to have the .env file here, .local. Now in this we need to give the database URL. So I will just copy that variable name. So I'm going to copy this, and I will have the here, and here we will give the name of our database. So for that what we will do is we will go back here, we will be coming here, and here I'm going to create a new database. So if you want to do it, what you can do is you can simply click on create database. So I'm going to come to this page, and here what I will do is I'm going to use the same project, and here I will create a new database, and our database name would be feedback fusion. We will be having the Prisma Postgres, and I'm going to click on the get started. All right, you need to choose your database region. So I will be using Europe, Frankfurt, and I'm going to click on the create database. All right, so my database is created. Now if I want to connect it, what we can do is I can click on the connect to your database, and I can use this config. So I'm going to copy this, and then I'm going to go here and I'm going to add it here. So we have this database URL here, and I'm going to have the hash database, so that we know that this is the database URL. So we have this one. Now first thing you need to do is you need to have the config file, which we already have it. So I can just copy this, and again I can replace what I have it here. So I will copy and put it here. Okay, the next thing it says that you need to create the Prisma schema file. So this is the file we are already creating. So what I will do is I'm going to copy this file, and I will go to my Prisma schema, and I'm going to put it here. All right, so we have this Prisma schema file as well. Then the third step we need to do is we need to have the Prisma client, and for that we need to run this command. But before that, we will create our own schema that we want for our project. So we will be keeping this as it is. The provider is Prisma client, output is this one, provider for the database source is PostgreSQL, and then let's have our models. So I'm going to have the first model as user. For the user, I will need the ID. Then after the ID, what I will do is I'm going to have my clerk user ID. For now, you can just think of clerk user ID is kind of a string ID, which will be a unique for every user, and we will see that once we have our clerk setup into our project. So I'm going to have this as a string. After that, we're going to have the email, and after the email we will be having the name, which will be of type string. After name, what I want to do is I want to have the image. For a user, you can also upload your user profile image, and that is going to be a string. After that, you will be having a post. So these posts are basically the feedback, which will be of post array. Then we are going to have the vote, that every user, how much vote a user has given. So this is going to be a vote array. And after that, we will be having the role, whether the user is a admin or a normal user. So by default, whenever you create a user, you will be having a user role. All right, so I'm going to have it here as a user. Now we need to create the post, vote, and the role. After that, what we will do is we will go here, and then we are going to use the map, and this is going to be mapped as a users table. So we have the users. Now next we will be having the post, which are the feedback. So we will be having the ID first. So I'm going to just align a little bit. Then we are going to have the title. After the title, we are going to have the description. So I'm going to have this as a description. After description, we are going to have the category, that in which category we are creating a post, and this is going to be a string. So I'm going to have the string. I will remove the default value. After category, we are going to have the status for every feedback, and here I'm going to create an enum for the status, that will be a post status, and we will give the default value. So I'm going to have the default value for the status as under review. Okay, so whenever you create a new feedback, the feedback will always go as under review. After that, we are going to have the author, which will be of type user, and then we're going to have a relation field author ID, and this is going to reference to the ID of the user. After that, we will be having the author ID, which will be the integer. Then we're going to have the votes for the post. So I'm going to have the votes, and this votes is going to be of type vote array. Then we will be having created at, and this is going to be date time, and we can give a default value. So whenever you create any post, you can always use the timestamp of now. So it will be created at, and then we are going to have the updated at. So we will be having the updated at, which will also be a date time, and we're going to have the updated at. So we have this post. Now let's create the map so that we can have the name of the table that is going to create this. So we will be having the post. All right, so we have this one. Now we need to create the vote, and we need to create the role. So let's create the role first. So I'm going to create an enum of type role, and we will be having only two. So we will be having a user, and we will be having an admin. All right, and then let's create one more enum for our post status. So we will be having the post status, and we will be having as the status as under review. Then once you have the under review, you will go to the plan, then it will go to in progress, and last it will go to the completed. So these are the different statuses of our feedback, which we also saw in our slide in the start. Okay, now the only thing we need to create is the create a model for the vote. So I will have a model vote, and when you create a vote you need an ID that will be of type int. It is going to have the ID, and let's have the default value for the ID, which will be CUID, and the default value would be auto increment. Okay, after that the next we will need is the user, then we will be needing is the user ID, then we will be having the post, and then we will be having the post ID. Okay, so for the user what we will do is it will be of type user, and we need to define a relation with it. So the relation will be on the field, and the field will be user ID, and this is going to references the ID. All right, next will be the user ID, which is of type int. Then we will be having the post, so a post will be of type post, and we will be having a relation on the post ID, and then our post ID is an integer. So let's have the int. So we have our schema ready here. We have this generate first, then we have the data source, we have the model user post, and then we have the model vote, and we have the enum role, and we created the enum for the post status. Now once we have this, what we will do is we need to generate the client. So if I go back here, I can run this command. So what we will do is if I come here, then we see that we get the env, and we need the .env package, which we haven't installed it yet. So let's go and let's do that. So I'm going to go to my terminal, and inside the terminal I will have the npm here. I will have the npm install -d, and I'm going to have the .env, and I will also have the tsx. So I'm going to hit enter, and we got both installed. So now we can go and we can run this command. So I'm going to copy this command, and I'm going to go here, and I'm going to have it here. And if I hit enter, I see that we have an error that it cannot get the database URL from my .env. Okay, so if I go to the .env, what I will do is I will just rename, because I need to have it .env default file, and let's give a try now. And here we see that the loaded Prisma config. From the config, Prisma schema loaded, and we have the database migration and everything, and your database is now sync with your schema. The next thing we need is we need to generate the Prisma client as well. So I'm going to go here and add it here, and I'm going to hit enter, and this is going to generate the Prisma client, which we can use it for our database connection and having a queries on it. So if I go here, and we have already done the connection part. If I go here, and if I go to the studio, if I go to the visualizer, then here you will see now in the visualizer that we have the schema ready. We have the users, post, and vote, and their relationship. If we go to the console also, we can use the queries and everything. Now if I go back to the dashboard, then we don't have any usage at this moment. All right, so our database connection part is fine and it's working. So what we will do is we are going to create the Prisma utility, so that we can just connect to the Prisma whenever we create our APIs and everything. So that will be the last part. So if I go here, what I will do is I'm going to have the lib folder, and inside the lib folder I'm going to create the prisma.ts. okay, so we have this one. Now here what we will do is first we are going to have the adapter part. So if I go back here, and if we go here, then here we should be able to see some code that we want to use it. So here this is what the Prisma client setup is. So I'm going to just copy this, and we can just simply use it here. All right, so we have this one, and here what I will do is I'm going to have the @ I will have the generated /prisma/client. So we have our Prisma client as well ready. I will just give you a walkthrough of it. A constant which is having a Prisma client. Then we have the adapter where we give our connection string for our database. After that, we assign this adapter to our Prisma client. So we have this creating a new Prisma client where you define the adapter, which actually contains the connection string for your database. And you have this Prisma, and you just export it. Now this Prisma can be used whenever you want to make a connection to the database and then fetch the data, or you want to insert some data. Now let's go here in our layout part. In the layout, what we will do is we will do some basic changes. So first, let's have this application. So our application name is feedback fusion, and we will be having the public roadmap. And for the description, let me add a description as a platform for users to suggest and vote on features. After that, what we will do is we are going to have this root layout where we will be having our HTML and the body part. So I will give some classes to this, and the font which we want to use is the I'm going to go here, and here I'm going to have the constant. I will have the inter, and this is going to be ter. Here I'm going to have the subset, and here I'm going to have the Latin. All right, I see that it is not auto imported. So what I will do is I'm going to have the import. I will have the inter from next font / Google, and this is going to be subsets. Okay, so we have this one. Now we can use this one and we can give it in our class name. So what I will do is I'm going to have a backtick. I will have the dollar, and I will have the inter. Along with that, I'm going to give some classes so that I can have the complete vertical height. Then I'm going to have the flex, and I will have the flex call. Okay, now inside the body, what we will do is the first thing we need is we will be having a navigation bar. So I'm going to have the nav bar. After the navigation bar, we are going to have the main section. So I will have the main section, and after the main section we are going to have our footer part. So I will be having the footer. Okay, and then what we will do is after the footer we are going to use a toaster. So I will be having the toaster which will be coming from the sonar. Okay, so we have this toaster component. Now for the nav bar we need to create a navigation bar. So what I will do is I'm going to go here. Now in the component, what I will do is I'm going to create a component as navbar.tsx. Here I will have the export default function navbar, and then we can simply have the return, and I'm going to have the return as navbar. Okay, so I will put them in the like this. Okay, so we have the navbar. Similarly, I will also create another component for our footer. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to have the footer.tsx, and I'm going to change this navbar to footer. So this will become a footer and this will become a footer. Okay, so we have these two. Now we can just import them here. Navbar imported. For the footer also I will have the footer imported. All right, I will just cut this and I will put it here, and I see the footer is not imported, so let me import the footer. And in the main section, what we will do is I'm going to have a main, and inside the main we can just keep the children. So I'm going to cut this and I'm going to have it children here. Let me give some classes to the main. So I will be having the flex 1, then I'm going to have the container max auto. I want padding on x-axis as 4 and padding on y-axis as 8. Okay, now if we go and check, so if I go here and if I come here and if I refresh it, then we see that error evaluating Node.js code. So we have some problem. All right, so let's see what we have done here. So here maybe we need to have dot class name. All right, so now let's go and let's check. So if I go here, then we see that we have the navbar, we have the home page, and we have the footer part. We have all the 3 sections for our home page. Now what we will do is we are going to create the nav bar first. So if I go to the nav bar, I'm going to go here, and here what we will do is first let's create the client component, as this is a nav bar, so we have this as a client component. But before we doing this one, what we will do is first let's set up the clerk in our project. So if we go here and if I change this to clerk, then clerk, it's not just an authentication platform, but it's also a complete user management. So you will get the built-in components from the clerk, and you can just integrate them easily into your Next.js application, and you will have the fully fledged application. So here you will see that you have a clerk component. So if I go to the sign in, then you can easily get this sign up screen where you can have the continue with Google, or you have a GitHub, and you can also have it with email address. If you want to do a sign up, then you can have this sign up as well. You will also get the user button where you can have your user here. You can click on it and you can get all the details like logged in user. You can access your account and you can have your logout. You can also get the user profile page. Once you have the logged in, you will get this user profile page. You can have the waitlist and many more. You can also have the organizations and billing part. So now if you want to go for the user authentication, what we will do is I'm going to go to the dashboard, and in the dashboard I'm going to create a new application. So I'm going to have a create new app, and the name of my app is Feedback Fusion. All right, so here you will see that sign into Feedback Fusion. Here you can have different options what you need it. So if you want to enable an email login, then you can have the enable. You want a phone number, you can also have a phone number where you will see that you have here as use phone. You can have the username, you can have the Google login as well, you can have the Facebook login if you want, and all the other options which you see it here. All right, so for now we will just go with continue with the Google, or you have a email address and you can log in with that. I'm going to click on the create app. Now my app is created. We need to use it in the Next.js. So what I will do is I'm going to click on the Next.js. So here what we will do is first we need to install the Clerk Next.js. So I'm going to copy this. Then we go to our application. I'm going to go here. I'm going to kill my app, and then I'm going to install the Clerk Next.js. I'm going to hit enter. All right, so it is installed. The next step what we need to do is we need to copy the next public Clerk publishable key and the secret. So I'm going to copy them, and I will go to my .env, and in the .env what I will do is I'm going to have here hash clerk, and I'm going to paste them here. All right, then the third step we need to do is we need to create a proxy TS, and we need to add this middleware configuration into the proxy TS. So I'm going to copy this, and if you are using the Next.js version less than 15, then you need to name the file as middleware TS. But since we are using Next.js version 16, we will be using proxy.ts. I'm going to zoom in a little bit, proxy.ts. So if I go back here, then I'm going to go here and I'm going to create a file as proxy.ts, and let me add this configuration here. All right, so I have the configuration. Now after adding the configuration, it says that you need to wrap your complete application in the Clerk provider. So I will go here, and here we will see that we need to add it as a Clerk provider. So let's do that one. So I'm going to go back here. Let's go to the layout part. So I'm going to go here and I will go to the layout. So now inside here what we will do is we are going to add the Clerk provider, and since it's not getting auto imported, something happened to my IDE. What we will do is we are going to go here and we're going to add it here. Now let's import. So I'm going to go here and I will have the import Clerk provider, and this will be coming from the @Clerk Next.js. Okay, so we have this one. Now next step what we have to do is once we have this, we can just use the npm run dev, and then we can utilize your own pages and all this. So if I click on this one, then this is how you can just use it. So if you want to create your sign in and the sign out page your own, then we can just simply use the app sign in and the page.tsx. We are going to do that later on, but before that let's go and let's run our app. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to run the app, and if we go here and then run it, then we don't see any changes. We still have our app here. All right, now we have this one ready. Let's go to the navbar, and in the navbar what I will do is I want to create here a JSX which has to be returned. So I'm going to have a nav, and in this I'm going to have a class. I will have the border bottom. I'm going to have the background, so I will have the bg background. Okay, and inside that we are going to create a div. I'm going to give a class name to the div as container. I will have the max auto flex. We're going to have the height as 16, all the items we want to be in the center, and then we are going to have the justify content as between. We give the padding on x-axis as 4. After that what we will do is we are going to create another div. I'm going to give a class name to the div as flex. We are going to have the items as center, and we want to give the gap as 6. Okay, so for now we just created few divs and we have added. So this is how it looks like. All right, next what we need to do is we need to create a link component which is coming from the next link, and this link component is going to have the href. Now on this href we need to have it as slash, that it is going to go on the home page, and inside that what we will do is we are going to create a div. I'm going to give the class name to the div as flex. I will have the item as center, then I will have the gap as 2. Okay, after that we are going to create another div, and in that another div I'm going to take a icon which will be sparkle. Let me give the classes to that. So I'm going to have the height as 4, width as 4, and then I'm going to have the text white. So we have this icon, and after this icon what we will do is we are going to simply have the span where we are going to give our title. So our title will be feedback fusion. Let's give some classes to the span. So I'm going to have a class as text XL, and I'm going to have the font as bold. If we go and see, then we see that we have this feedback and we don't see any icon here. So let's go and let's check. So I have the sparkle, and I see the sparkle was also auto imported from the Lucid React. Now what I will do is since I have the text as white, maybe it's not visible on the white background. So here I'm going to have the height as 8. I'm going to have the width as 8. we are going to have the rounded LG, background as linear to right. We will be having the we will be having blue to 500, and we see that we started seeing the icon here. So we're going to add more classes to it. So what I will do is, since we have from blue 500 to we're going to use the purple, and we're going to have the purple 500. Then we are going to have the flex. We will be having the item center, and these are purely Tailwind CSS classes to get the icon color. So we have this icon color and we have this feedback fusion. Okay, let's give a, so this is how it originally looks. So we need to give some rounded corners. So let's go and let's check. So I have the rounded, and it should be rounded hyphen LG. So we have the rounded background. The next link we need is the roadmap, and we need for the feedback. So let's go and let's do that one. So I'm going to go here, and here if I go to the link, so I will just minimize this for now, and below that I'm going to create another link, and this is going to be an href, and here I'm going to have the slash roadmap. So this is going to go to the slash roadmap, and then what we will do is we are going to have a classes to it. So let's give some classes. I'm going to have the text as sm. We will have the hover text primary. We are going to have the flex. We are going to have the item as center, and then we are going to have the gap as 1. After this, what we will do is we are going to have a map icon, and for this map icon I'm going to give the classes as height as 4, and we're going to have the width as 4. Then we can have our text, which is the roadmap. Okay, we have this one. I'm going to just copy this, and I'm going to create the another one which will be the feedback. So I'm going to have the feedback here, and this time this is going to change to the message square, the icon, and this is going to get changed to the feedback. Okay, so we have the fusion, we have our logo, and we have the slash roadmap, but right now we don't have any page, so this looks like this, and then we have the feedback. Okay, we will create these pages later on. Now we have this one. What we need next is we need this toggle icon, which can easily toggle and give us the dark and the light mode. So let's create that one. So what I will do is I'm going to go to the components, and inside the components I'm going to create a new component which will be the theme toggle. So I will have the theme toggle.tsx. okay, now in this theme toggle.tsx, let's create it. So I'm going to have the export default. We are going to create a function, and that function will be for the theme toggle, and we will be using the next themes package so that we can manage the themes easily for our application. So if I go here and if we go to the next themes, so it's an npm package, and that npm package allows you to play with your themes, and you can easily get the themes, the dark mode and the light mode, with a very minimal code. So what I will do is I'm going to copy this. I will go here, I'm going to stop my server, and then I'm going to install that. So I will have the next theme. All right, so I have that one. Now what I will do is I can simply have a constant. I can have a theme, and I will have the set theme, and this is going to be coming from the use themes. Okay, and then we will simply return a JSX. So the JSX is basically a button that is going to toggle. So we will be using the button from our set CN, and on this button we are going to have the variant as ghost. Then we are going to have the size, and we will be using the size as icon. After that we're going to have the on click. So whenever you click on it, we are just going to toggle the theme. So I'm going to have the set theme, and on this what I will do is, if the theme is equals to, if it's a light theme, then it's going to get changed to a dark theme. So I will have the dark, but if it's not, then it is going to change to light theme. Okay, so we have this one. Now inside this we are simply going to have the icons. So I will have the sun icon, and the other one is the moon icon. So I will have the sun, and I'm going to have the moon. So I will have here moon icon, and below that I'm going to have a span, and I'm going to give the class as sr only, and here I will have the toggle theme. Now what I will do is I'm going to simply copy paste the CSS for both. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to copy the CSS. All right, so we have this toggle theme. Now what we will do is we are also going to create a theme provider component. So I'm going to go here, and here I'm going to have the theme provider.tsx. So this is going to be provider.tsx, and inside the theme provider what we will do is this is going to be a client component. So I'm going to have the use client, and I will simply have the export function theme provider, and this is going to accept the children, and there are some props which we are going to pass. So I will have the props, and this is going to be children. Now this will be of type theme provider props, and then we can have the function. I have to make this as a dot. Now once we have this, what we are going to do is we are simply going to return the next theme provider component, and we are going to do all the props that we have. So let's have all the props here. So I'm going to have the dot 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 props, and here we are going to pass the children. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to add the children here. Now this theme provider will be coming from the, so I will have the import, I will have the theme provider, and I will just give an alias to it as next theme provider. Alright, so we have this theme provider component also. We can just put this theme provider component into our layout. So I will go to the layout, and under the clerk, what we will do is we are going to have the HTML body, and since from here we're going to have the theme provider. So I will have the theme provider, and I'm going to cut this, and I'm going to put the theme provider under the, just above the body. So I'm going to have it here. Now we are going to give some props. So for the first prop is the attribute, and the attribute will be class, and you can get this information here as well. So if I go here, then this gives you some idea how to do it. This one, like enables, attribute, and many more. So what I will do is I'm going to give the attribute here. Along with the attribute, I want to define the default theme, and which is going to be light. I'm going to enable the system, so it's going to take the theme of the system as well, and then we are going to have the stable transition on change. So we have all this. Now if we want to use it in the navbar, so I will go here, and here we end our link, and here I'm going to create a div. Let me give the class as a flex. I'm going to have the items center, and then I'm going to have the gap as 4. Now here we're going to have the toggle theme. So I will have here my theme toggle. All right, so now let's go and let's run our server. Oops, and it says that my application is already running on 3000. So let me kill that. Okay, so now if I run the app, then we have it localhost 3000. Now if I go here and if I refresh it, then we see that we have the black color because my system has a black theme. And if I click on it, then we have the enable of the theme. All right, so we have this one. Now since we want this theme part should be on the extreme right, so let's go and let's fix that. So I'm going to go here, and here what I will do is I'm just going to close the div. Now if we go and see, then we have this one toggle. Now next what we want is we need a sign in button here, so that we can see our beautiful sign up page provided by the clerk. So if I go here, now here what you want to see is when you are signed out, you need a button to see here which will say sign in button. So here under this, we are first going to have that if a user is sign out, then in that case I want to see a sign in button. So I will have the sign in button. All right, and inside the sign in button, what I will do is I'm going to have a button here, button component. So you have this button, and here I'm going to have the sign in. Here I can have a mode value, could be a modal value. Now let's go and let's check. So if I go here and if I click on it, then you will see that I have a modal here, and we see the sign up button in this modal. Now if I click on the sign up, then we go to the sign up screen. If I click on the sign in, then we go to the sign in screen. So that quick it was using Clerk to build the sign in and the sign up part of the application. Now one thing here to notice is that if I change the theme, so if I go to the light theme and if I click on the sign in, I see a white, but I need this as a black color. I need to apply a theme on it. Similarly, if I go to the dark theme, I still see the white color. So for this, if you want to customize this based on your theme, what you can do is instead of using the modal, you can create a custom page for the sign in and the sign up. And how you can do it? So if I go to the Clerk documentation, then we can have a build a sign in or a sign up page. So we can simply have a page like this. We can have a app router. Inside the app router, we can create a sign in, and then we just follow this naming convention, and then we can have a page.tsx. Let's quickly do that. So I'm going to go here in the app. I'm going to have my auth. So I'm going to group them, and in the auth, I'm going to have the sign in, and I'm going to create a sign out. So I will have the sign up, not out. All right, and after that, what you need to do is you need to create another folder that will have the square braces. Inside that you have again square braces, then you have dot dot dot, and then you have the sign in. And after that you can have your page.tsx. So I will have my page.tsx. Okay, similarly we can have our sign up. I can go here, I can have the square brackets, I can have dot dot dot, and then I can have the sign up. And this convention you need to just follow, because this is what I have given in the documentation of the Clerk. So I have this one. Now I can simply copy this, and I will go to the sign in. I will copy and put it here, sign in. All right, now if I want to do for the sign up, I can do the same thing for the sign up. So I will go here and I'm going to add it here, and this time here it will be sign up, okay, instead of the sign in. Now other thing what we have to do is if I go to the nav bar here, the mode will get changed. So I'm simply going to remove this one. We don't want any mode, and here I'm going to create a link. I'm going to have the href, and this href will go to the slash. All right, and I'm going to give this sign in here. I'm going to make this as child, and this can be going to the sign in. All right, so we have done this one. Now if you want to give a try, if I go back here and if I go here, then now if I click on the sign in, then we see that it's getting redirected. So what we can do is we can go to Clerk, and it says that we need to define some environment variables inside the Clerk. So what I can do is I can simply have my sign in and sign up URL and my fallback redirect. So I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to go to my this page. I will come here, I will add this one, and I will also add for the sign up. So I'm going to come here, and this is going to be for the sign up, and here I'm going to change this to sign up. Okay, so we have that. Now if we give a try, so I'm going to go to the local host. Now if I click on the sign up, then you see that it's on the local host itself. It's not going to anywhere. And if I go to the dark and light theme, it's still not working. So for that, what we need to do is we need to implement a Clerk themes. So if I go here and I can have the themes, so we need to install this Clerk themes. So what I will do is I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to go, maybe I will just remove these two. I don't need them for now. So I will just remove them, and we are going to terminate our local server, and we are going to install the Clerk themes, and I'm going to hit enter. So we have it. Now let's put the audit fix. Okay, so now what we can do is we have the themes as well. So I'm going to go to my sign in page, and on the sign in page, what we will do is I'm going to first get my current theme, and I can get the current theme with the use theme. So I will have the theme set theme, and this is going to be equals to the use theme. Okay, once I have that theme, what I will do next is I'm going to go here, and here we can apply the appearance base theme, and if our current theme is equals to light, then we need to make it a dark. Otherwise we keep it as an undefined. Now from where this dark come, dark will come from the Clerk themes. So I will have the import. I want to import dark, and this is going to come from the Clerk themes. All right, now I'm going to run my dev server, and now if we go and check, okay, so I have that I attempted this from the server, but use theme is a client component. Okay, so let me make this as a client component. So I will make it as a client component. So there it will be use client. Okay, so now if I do it, then you see that we have this theming part here. So you can see that we can now also change the sign in and the sign up based on our dark and a light theme. All right, so if we go back to the home page and if we click on the sign in, then we see the sign in. Now we want this to be in the center of the screen. So let's go and let's do that. So I'm going to have a div, and inside the div, I'm going to put this one. So I'm going to cut this. I'm going to put it here. I'm going to give some classes to it. So it is going to be flex. I will have the mean height as green. I will have the justify center. Okay, and that is going to give me it in the center. If I click on the sign up is still here, but we can also fix that. All right, so what I will do is I'm going to copy this complete. I will go to the sign up, and I'm going to paste it there. All right, now instead of sign in, I'm just going to have the sign up here, and I'm going to have the sign up here. Okay, so now it should work. So we have the dark and the light mode on our sign in and the sign up as well. Now what we will do next is that if I go back here, we have our roadmap, we have our feedback, and we have our sign up ready. So I'm going to go back here. We will first create the footer part. So let me go to the components and the footer part. So what I will do is I'm going to simply have the footer. I'm going to give the classes. I will have the border T. I will have the BG background. So I will have the BG background. and then I will have the margin top as auto. After that, I'm going to have a div. I'm going to give the classes to that as container, max, auto, padding on x-axis as 4, and padding on y-axis as 5. Next, what we will do is we are going to have another div, and we are going to give a classes to that as flex. We're going to have the flex call for medium devices. We are going to have the flex as row. We are going to have the justify between. We are going to have the items as center, and then let's have the gap as 4. Okay. Next, what we need to do is we need to have a span, and in the span I will just have made with. And then we are going to have our heart icon. So let me have the heart icon from the Lucid React, and I'm going to give some classes so that it looks a little bit nice. So I will have the heart icon height as 4. I want the width as 4. I want the text color as red 500. I need it to be a fill, so it is going to be fill red 500. Okay, and after that we are going to have another span, and here I'm going to have the by the page Malvia. Okay, once we have that, we are going to create another div, and let me have a class name there as flex. We're going to have the items as center. We will be having gap as 4, text sm. We will have the text mutate foreground, and inside that we are simply going to have a span, and I will just put the content. I will just copy paste the content. We need the current year. So for current year, what I will do is I'm going to have my constant current year will be equals to the new date, and I will have the dot get full year. Okay, so if I go here, then we see that we have the this made with the page, and then we have it, but I want everything should be in a single line. So what I will do is I'm going to go back here, and on this span I need to create another div. So this is going to be a div, and I'm going to cut this, and I'm going to put this div is here, and I'm going to cut this, and this div will go here. Okay, so now it's proper, and we can give some classes to this div. So now it looks like this. Let me give a class to this div. So this is going to be flex. We want items to be in the center. We will have the gap as 2. We will have the text as sm, and we will have the text mutate. We will have the foreground. Okay, so still it looks like this, and what we want is we want this to be in the same line. So what we can do is we have this mistake. It should be gap, and this should be row. So if I go and check, then we see that we have a very similar what we have it here. All right, so we have that one. Now the next thing what we will do is we are going to work on our home page. So this is the home page, and here you will see that we have this gradient background, and if we go on the roadmap, we have a very similar gradient background. If we go on the feedback, we have a very similar. So what we will do is we are going to create a simple component to get this gradient background. So if I go back here, then I'm going to go to the component, and inside the component I'm going to create the gradient header.tsx. okay, and here what I will do is I'm going to have my export function. I will have the gradient header. All right, and inside that what I will do is I'm going to have my title, then I will have the subtitle, and then I'm going to have any children's if there are any. Now we need to create the props for this. So what I will do is I'm going to have an interface. We are going to have the gradient header props, and here we are going to have the title as string. Then we are going to have the subtitle, which will be an optional, that will be as string. Then we are going to have the children, that will be optional. Those will be of React node. Okay, and now this can be equals to the gradient props. Now once we have this, what we will do is we are simply going to return a JSX. So there is nothing much in this component. It is simply going to accept the title, subtitle, children, and then it is going to give the background to that as a gradient. So I'm going to have a div. Now inside this div I'm going to have another div. Then we are going to have our h1 tag, and on this h1 we are going to have the title, whatever the title we have it. Now after that, if there is a subtitle, then in that case what we need to do is we are going to have a paragraph tag, and in the paragraph tag we are going to define the subtitle. Now after the subtitle we are simply going to have the children, and then we are going to have a div here. So we are going to give the classes to it. So here I'm going to have a class. So I will go here and I'm going to put the class here. Then here I'm going to use the relative. So I will have a relative and I'm going to provide a Z index of 10. Now on the H1 we are going to have the text as 4XL, and then we're going to have the font as bold. Okay, then for the title subtitle, we are going to have the class name. I will have the margin top as 2. We are going to have the text as large. Then we are going to have the text blue 100, and then we're going to have the max width 2XL. And in the last we need to have a div where I'm going to give more classes to it. So I'm going to copy and I'm going to put the classes here. Alright, so we have this gradient component as well. Now the next what we will do is let's create the layout part of our home page. So if I go here, then if I go to the home page, the home page has this banner, then how it works, and then we have some stats here. Alright, so let's do that one. So I'm going to go to the page.tsx, and in this what we will do is I'm going to just remove this first, and I'm going to name this as home page, and then I'm going to have my JSX. So in the JSX, the first thing what we will do is we are going to create a div, and I'm going to have the div, I will have the space y as 12, and after that we are going to first have the hero section. So I will have the hero section, and then after the hero section we are going to have our feature section. So I will have the feature section, and then the third one we are going to have our stats. So I'm going to have the stats sections here. So I will have the stats section. Okay, so we have all the three. Now let's start with the hero section first. So in the hero section I'm going to use this gradient header. All right, and on this gradient header what we will do is we are going to first have the title that we want to provide. So we will be having shape the future of our product. Then we need to provide the subtitle. So I will have the subtitle, and I will just copy paste the subtitle, and here I can also provide the children's. So if I go here, then we have the header, we have the subtitle, and after the subtitle what we have is we have the two buttons. So let's do that one. So I'm going to go here, and here I'm going to have a div. I will give the class names to this div. So I will be having the flex gap as 4, justify center, and then we are going to have the padding top. Then we are going to have the button, and we are going to be using as child. On the button I will be having the size, so the size will be large. After that we are going to have the classes to the button. So I'm going to have the background as white, text blue 600, and then we are going to have the hover, then the background will be gray 100, and inside this button the value would be, we're going to have a link tag from the next link, and the button will be submit feedback. And after that we are going to have a arrow icon. So I will have the arrow right, and the classes to this is margin left as 2, we want height should be 4, and we want width should be 4. Okay, on the link we are going to give the href, and this href is going to go to the /feedback/new. We will be having a page where we can add the new feedback. Okay, now we need a similar thing for our roadmap. So I'm going to copy this, I'm going to put it here, and this is going to get changed to view roadmap, and here I'm going to have the simple map from the Lucid. Okay, so we have that, and this is going to go to the roadmap page. So I will have the /roadmap. We're going to have the background white, I will have the text black, and then on hover I will have the background gray 100. Okay, if I go and check, so if I go here, then we see that we have a very similar what we have it here. Okay, now after this what we will have, the next thing is we have this how it works. So what we will do is we are going to go in the feature section, and in the feature we are going to create a section. Inside that I'm going to have an h2 where I will be having how it works. I will be having here the text as 3XL, then I will be having the font as bold, we will be having text center, margin bottom as 8. After that what we will have next is we are going to have a div, and in the div we are going to have the class name. We will be having a grid, we will be having grid col 1. For medium devices we are going to have the grid column 2, and for the large devices we are going to have the grid column 4, and we will be having the gap as 4. All right, so this will be MD, and inside that what we will do is we are going to create a card component. So I will be having a card which will be coming from the SignIn card. So we have the card. After that we will be having the card header, and on this header we are going to have the message square icon. We're going to give the class name to that icon, and then we close that icon. So the classes for that icon would be we want the height should be 8, we want width should be 8, we want the text as primary, and then the next we want is the margin bottom as 2. All right, so if we go here, then we see that we have this box. We need to create similarly all the 4 boxes. Okay, so we go back here, and after the message, what we will do is we are going to add the title. So I'm going to have my card title, and the title of the card will be submit ideas. Okay, after that, what we will do is we are going to have the card content. So let me have the card content. Inside that, we are going to have a paragraph tag. I'm going to give the text muted foreground, and here we are going to have that share your suggestion and feature request with the community. All right, so we have this one. So if I go and check, then we have the similar what we have it here. Now we just need to repeat this. So what I will do is I'm going to go here and I'm going to copy this, and let me repeat this. Okay, now for the second one, instead of the submit ideas, we are going to have the vote and prioritize. Okay, and for the content, what we will do is we are going to have upvote ideas you love to help us understand what matters most. Okay, now the third one will be and also this one, the instead of the square message, here we are going to have the bar chart. Now the third one will be track progress. The icon will be users icon, and here what we will do is instead of this one, we are going to have follow our public roadmap to see we are working on next. And the last one is the see results. So here if I go see results, and the icon would be zap, and the content will be watch as feedback transforms into real improvements. So if I go, then we see that we have these 4 how it works. And the last one we need is the stats. So let's put the stats here. So if I go here, then we will just have the stats. It's a static section. We are not fetching the values dynamically from anywhere. So I'm going to have a div. We are going to have a class. So I'm going to have the inline grid. I will have the grid call as 3, and then I'm going to have the gap as 8. Now inside this, we are going to have another div. Now inside this, we are going to have one more div, and this div will be containing some static content 2 3 4 plus. I'm going to give the classes to it, so it will be text 3XL, and we are going to have the font as bold. Okay, I'm going to copy this. I'm going to put it here, and here we are going to have the suggestions, and this is going to get changed to text mutate foreground. All right, I'm just going to copy this for the other 2. This is going to get changed to 8901, and here we are going to have the votes cast, and the last one will be 254, and here we are going to have the features shipped. All right, now here we see that we have this homepage ready, which is a very similar what we have it here. Now we also have a roadmap here, which looks something like this, which we want to build it, and we also have the feedbacks. So if I click on the feedback, we see there are a lot of feedbacks, and if we click on the new, then we first need to log in. We're going to be able to see the page where we can add a new feedback. All right, so now let's create the roadmap, feedback, and the new feedback pages. So what I will do is I will go back here. I will go to my app router, and inside the app router, the first I will have the feedback, and inside that I'm going to have the page.tsx. Inside the feedback, I'm going to have the new, and inside that I'm going to have the page.tsx again. Then we are going to have the roadmap. So I will go to the roadmap. If I click on it, I will have the page.tsx. And we are also going to create the admin part. So what I will do is I'm going to have the admin, and then inside the admin, I'm going to have the page.tsx. Okay, so we have all the pages created. Now what we will do is we are going to have here export default, and I'm going to make it as an async function, and I'm going to name it as the admin page. So this is going to be admin page. Now in this, I'm simply going to return a JSX, and here I will have the admin page. I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to have the same thing on the roadmap. So I'm going to change this to roadmap, and we will have a very similar for our feedback and the feedback new. So if I go here, we have the feedback. I'm going to change this to feedback and the new. So if we go here, I'm going to change this to new feedback. So I will have the new feedback. Okay, so I will just append the page, new feedback page, and I'm going to copy this and I'm going to have it here. Similarly, I will also have the roadmap and I'm going to append a page here and I'm going to append the page in the feedback as well. Okay, so these are the pages. Now we can go and check. So if I go here and if I click on the roadmap, then it's going to take us to the roadmap page. If I click on the feedback, it's going to take us the feedback page. Now if I go here and have /new, then I'm going to go to the new feedback page and one more route, which is the admin. So we are going to go admin. Oh, okay, so we don't have a route for the admin. It should be /admin. So I'm going to just remove this and we go to the admin page. Now let's try to create an account. So what I will do is I'm going to click on sign in. And here I can go on the sign up, and in the sign up I can have my first user as maybe the page, and I'm going to have the Malvia. I'm going to give the email address as page@gmail.com and I'm going to give password. The length of the password should be 8 characters. Now if I click on the continue, then you will see that the password has been found as a part of breach and you cannot use this password. So there are a couple of restrictions that has been already applied on your fields. So what we can do is, for the purpose of this development, we can just apply some relaxation on these. So if I go here, what you will do is you will go in the configure, and here you will see you have all the restrictions. So if I go to the password first, so here what we will do is we see that reject compromised passwords. So I'm going to click on the update password requirement and I will just remove this, and we have the 8 characters. I'm going to keep it that. You can just click on the update and I will just save it. And we should not do such settings in the production, because in the production we need a password to be protected and everything. For the email also, what I will do is for the sign up, it will require an email and there will be a verify at sign up. So if you are creating an account and you want that once the user is created, you need to verify the email address, you will click it check on. For the testing purpose, I'm going to off this feature, so I will make it disable, and I will also sign in. Also I will disable the email verification, which I don't want. I'm going to click on save. Now if we go back here and if I now try to click on continue, then we see that our user is created, and here we don't see the user button. So whenever a user is logged in, we need something to user button here, which is missing. So if I go here, then you will see that if we log in, so let me log in with my account here and I'm going to give the password, and if I click on continue, then you see that when you log in we get this user button. So we are missing that one. So let's go and let's check that. So if I go back here and if I go to the navbar, so I'm going to go to the components, I'm going to go to the navbar, and here we did not have the user button. So what I will do is, once we have the signed in, and inside the sign in we are going to have the user button. So this user button is going to give us the same look what we have it here. So if I go here, then you see now I have the user button. Now if I click on it, you will see this is the user which we have logged in. Now if we want to go and check the user, so what I will do is I will come here, I will go to the users, and here you will see that this is my user created. But what I want is I want this user to be synced with my database as well. And if I go to the dashboard and if we go to the tables, then we have a user table here as well. Now we want that whenever we create a user in our Clerk user management, we also need to sync that into our database, which is the users. So for that, what we need to do is we need to write a utility to make that sync happen. So I'm going to go to the lib, and inside the lib I'm going to create a new file which will be sync user.ts, and the purpose of this utility will be just to take the user ID from the clerk and then sync it with the database. If it's available, then update it. If there is no user available, then you just create a new user into the database. So I'm going to have the export function and I'm going to have the sync current user. Okay, and the first thing is we need to get the logged in user information. So to get the logged in user information, what we will do is we're going to have the get user data from clerk. Okay, and to get that we are going to have a constant. We will be having a clerk user, and we can do the await current user, and this function is being coming from the Next.js server, and this is going to give us the current logged in user information. Now what I can do is I can just have a async here. So let me have the async. Okay, we can also go and check on the documentation for the current user. So if I go here in the documentation, if I write current user, then you will see that these are the endpoints where you can get the current user. Now once we have the current user, the next thing we want to do is we are going to check that if there is no clerk user, then in that case we will just return null. But if that is not the case, then what we will do is we are going to extract the email first. So I'm going to have the clerk user dot email address. So you can here get all the attributes like the email, phone, whatever you have enabled. So I'm going to take the dot email. Now what we will do is we are going to check that if we don't find any email, then in that case we are going to have that user email not found. So I will just do a throw new error, and we are going to have here user email not found. After that, what we will do is we are going to check that whether this particular user is already exist in the database or not. So we are going to have here check if user exists in DB. So for that, what you will do is you're going to have a let, you will have the DB user, and then we are going to have the await. Now we are going to use the Prisma utility which we have created. So here we have the Prisma client. So we are going to use this Prisma to connect to the database. So I'm going to go back here. I will have the Prisma dot, and then we are going to have our user table, and we are going to find. So I will have the find unique, and you will find based on the clerk user ID. Since you have the clerk user, you will also have the clerk user ID, and you are finding it in the database because if we go here and if we go to visualizer, then we see that in the user we also have the clerk user ID. So we need to just match it. If it matches, then we will get this user. So here we are going to use our where clause, and in the where what we will do is we are going to have the clerk user ID will be equals to the clerk user dot ID. Okay, so we are getting an error here, and it says that user where unique input. All right, so maybe I have not defined the clerk user ID as a unique. So if I go to the Prisma schema, what we will do is we have the email as unique, but we will also make this clerk user ID as unique. Now we need to push this changes. So what I will do is I'm going to have npx migrate. So I'm going to hit enter, and it says that the unique constant covering columns, this is going to impact all the values. So we don't have any data in the database yet. So I can just use it yes, and you say that the database is now in sync with the schema. Now what we will do is we are simply going to generate the client as well. So I'm going to have the generate client, and we have the client generated. All right, so now we should be able to do it. So if I go back here, then we have the where here, and we have no errors. After that, what we will do is if we are having this DB user, then in that case we are just going to update the existing user. So we will have the update existing user. So I'm going to have my DB user, which is going to be equals to, I'm going to have the await, we are going to have the Prisma dot our user table dot, we are going to update. So this time we are going to have the update. Now to update it, we need to pass the data. So what we will do is first what we need to update is we need to provide a where clause that which record we need to update. So we are going to have the ID, and this ID is going to match with the db user.id which we have just fetched it. Okay, so once we have that one, the next will be to get the data that we want to update. So I'm going to have the data, and in the data we will update the email address. Then we are going to update the name, and from where we get the name, we are going to get the name from the clerk, because when we create the user in the clerk, we have provided the first name and the last name. So I'm going to have the clerk user dot first name, and if we don't provide a first name, then we give it as an empty, because the first name field is the optional field when you sign up the user. And then I'm going to have the clerk user dot last name. Oops, this should be last name, and if there is no last name, we will have the empty here. Then I'm going to simply do a trim. All right, so we have this one. Now the next thing what we can update is the image. So we are going to also have the image when we create the user in the clerk. So I'm going to have the clerk user dot image URL. So let's have that image URL. Now this is very useful if we go here and if we want to update the image. So you can go to the manage accounts, and you have this image. You can just update the image. So whenever you update the image gets updated in the clerk. All right, so from the clerk we need to also sync that image to our DB. So this is our DB. We also have an image here. So that's where this is very useful. Whenever we do the sync up, if a user already exists, then we just update the fields of that user. But if that is not the case, so what I will do is I have some alignment issues. So I have this one, and I'm going to have my try block. So in the try block, I'm also going to have my catch block. So I will have the error and I will have something like that. So now everything looks okay. But if this is not the case, then in that case, what we will do is we are going to create a new user. So I will have a create a new user in database, and we will also make sure that whenever we create the first user, we need to make the first user as an admin. So if we are going to have that check if this is the first user, make them admin. The first user will be my user which I'm going to create, and that will become the admin of this one. All right, so I'm going to have a constant. First, let's take the user count in our database. So I'm going to have the await. I will have the Prisma user dot count. After that, what I will do is constant is first user. Then we are going to have that user count is equals to 0. Then we need to make it as a first user flag. Now I'm going to have my db user. Let's create the user. So I will have the await Prisma user create, and we need to pass the data that we want to create. So I will have my first clerk user ID, which will be equals to the clerk user dot ID. After that, I'm going to have my email. Then I'm going to have my name. So I will have the name, and the name would be very similar what we have it here. So I'm going to just copy and I'm going to add it here. Next, we need to have the image. So I'm going to have the image as clerk image URL. And after that, what we will do is we are going to have define the role. So in the role is if we have the first user, then that becomes the admin. But if that's not the case, then we will have the user. Okay, so we have all this information, and then last we can do just a console log. So I'm going to have the console log, and I will have here new user created. I will have my email address. So this is the email address of the user which we have created. And after that, what we will do is we're going to assign that with role, and let's pass the role. So I will have the role as db user dot role. Okay, once we do that, last we will just return the user that we have created. So we are going to have our db user. So now the catch block, we are going to have the console dot error. If there is any error, then what we will do is error syncing user from clerk. Okay, and we are going to display the error. So I will have the error here. All right, and then we just throw it. So I will have the throw error. Okay, so we have this one. Now, since we have already created our first user, so now if we are going to use the sync, then it is not going to make it as an admin. And if I refresh it, okay, then we don't have any errors. Now, if I go and do a sign out, then we do a sign out and we come back on the home page. And if I go here, then I'm going to just delete this user. So I will go here and I will have the delete user, and the user will get deleted. So now we don't have any user. Now what we will do is we need to sync this. So where we are going to place this sync user function is, so I'm going to go to the layout. So let me go to the layout. And in the layout, what I will do is I'm going to come here, and here I'm going to use my sync. So here I want to make it sync. So I will have the await. I'm going to have the sync current user, which is the logged in user. So I will have the sync current user. And since we are using await, we need to make it as an async. So let me have an async here. Now we can give a try. So what I will do is first I'm going to create a user, and we need to see that after creating a user, we are able to sync it or not. To our application, I'm going to click on sign in. Now I will click on sign up, and we're going to have the first name as admin. And here I'm going to have the admin@gmail.com. I'm going to give the password. Now I'm going to click on continue, and we see that the admin user is created. Now if we go to the clerk and if I refresh it, then we should see an entry for the admin here. So we also need to see whether the user is synced or not. So if we go to the database, if I go to the user, then here you will see that you have the ID as 1, you have the clerk user ID, you have the email, you have the image, and then we will also see that we have the role, and the role is as admin. So that's where you see that our sync is working fine. We have already created a user, and we have synced that clerk user with our database. Now let's go and let's try to create another user, and let's see what role is assigned to the next user. So if I go here and if I click on the sign out, then we get sign out. If I click here again, I'm going to click on sign up, and let's create another user which will be Dipesh Malviya. I'm going to have my email address, and I'm going to have the password. All right. Now, if I click on sign up, then we can see that we have created another user. If we go to the clerk and if I refresh it, then we see that we have two users now. And similarly, if I go here, then we should have two users here as well. So what I will do is I will just refresh this, and we see that we have the second user as Dipesh Malviya and the role is user. So this feature is working fine. We are able to sync our database and the clerk user. All right. Now let's create the API endpoints that we will need. So I'm going to close everything which we don't want. Okay, so I closed everything. So now what we will do is we are first going to create the API endpoints that we will need. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to create a new folder with an API. And inside this, the first one we will need is the feedback. So I'm going to have the feedback. And inside the feedback, we are going to create the route where we will be able to have create new feedback. So I'm going to have the route.ts, and for the individual ID, we should be able to update the status of a feedback. So for that, I'm going to create a ID here, and inside the ID we will be having our status. So let me have the status, and inside the status we are going to have our route. So I will have the route.ts. So this is for the feedback. Now the other API for the feedback we need to give is as a vote. So we can vote any of the feedback. So what I will do is I'm going to have here vote, and inside the vote I'm going to create a route.ts. So I will have the route.ts. We can also create this vote inside the feedback ID, and then we can have the vote, but it's up to you. So I want to show you both the way. So I created the status as an ID status, but I created the vote as the separate endpoint. All right. Now let's go and let's work on first the feedback part where we can create the new feedbacks. So I'm going to go to my API and I'm going to go to the routes. Now inside the route, I will have the export async function. We are going to have this as a post method. So I'm going to use post, and we will be getting the request, which will be the next request. All right, so we have this function ready. Now what we will do is first let's have a try catch block, and in the try part we are going to first, whenever you create a new feedback, you first need to have the logged in user. So what we will do is first let's have a constant db user, and we are going to have the await sync current user. So this is going to sync the current user, and it is also going to give us the information of the logged in user. Okay, so once we have this, what we will do is if there is no db user, then in that case we are going to have return, and we will be returning next response dot json. And here what we will do is we are going to have the error, and here we will have unauthorized. We will pass the status. So let me have the status as 401. Okay, now if this is not the case, then what we will do is we are going to get the body of our request. So I'm going to have the await, we will be having the request.json. And what we get in the body is whenever you want to create a new feedback, you will need the title of that feedback, you will need the description, what will be the description of the feedback, and then you will need the category, that in which category you are creating this feedback. So I will have the category. All this will be coming from the body. Now after that, what we will do is we are going to create our first post, and this is going to be await. I will have the prisma dot post dot create. So we will create, and then here what we will do is we are going to have our data part. So in the data we will be having the title, we will be having the description, we will be having the category, and then we will be having the author who is creating this. So for the author we will be having the db user dot id. This should be author id, so we will be having the author id as db user. Now after that we are going to have return, and we are going to return the next response. So I will have the next response dot json, and we pass the post that we have created. Okay, so this is the try block. Now in the catch, what we will do is we are going to have the console error, and in the error we will having that error creating post, and we are going to have the error. And apart from that, we will also return a response in case of the error. So I'm going to have the return next response dot json, and here we are going to have the error as internal server error, and we will pass the status. So I'm going to have the status as 500. So this is the one function post which is going to help you to create the new feedbacks, but we will also need a way to fetch all the feedbacks. So for that, what we will do is we are going to create another function here as export async function, and we will be having get here. Okay, now what we will do is we are going to use again the try catch block, And in the try block, what we will do is we are going to have the constant posts. We want all the posts. So for that, we will have the await Prisma dot post dot find many. So we are going to have many posts for a particular user. And what we want is whenever we return the post, we want that we need to include the author, and then we will also need to include the votes. So I'm going to make them true. Okay, and we also need to order them. So what I will do is I'm going to have the order by created date. So when they were created, so I will order them by descending. Okay, so we have this one. Now we can just simply return it, the response. So once we have that, we are going to have the next response dot JSON, and here we're going to have all the posts. So I'm going to have the post. But if there is any error, then we can simply have the same. So I'm going to just copy from here the error part, and I'm going to put it here. Okay, so if there is an error, then we will be having the error fetching posts. So this will be S, and then we have the next response internal server error, and we have the 500. Now if you want to change the status of a post, so we have this status as under review and all this, and if you want to change them, what we will do is we are going to use the route. And before having this, we need to create some data for our status and for our categories. So what I will do is I will go here and I'm going to create a new folder as data. So I will have the data, and inside the data I'm going to create a new file as status data.ts. Okay, now here what we will do is we are going to have the export constant. We are going to have the status order. Okay, and this is going to be an array, and here we can define all the statuses. So we have the under review status for a post, then we are going to have the planned status for a post. After that, we are going to have the in progress, and the last one we will be having is the completed. So I will have the completed. Now along with the status, I will also have the status group. So what I will do is I'm going to simply copy paste the status group. So this is how the status group looks like. Now in the status group, what you will have is you're going to have your status, which is a review, and when you have a review, you have few data of it, like what will be the title, description, what icon we want to use, then the color and everything. So these are some cosmetic things that we will need. So I'm going to have the list check. I will have the clock, so it will get imported, and I'm going to have the check circle. So these are our statuses. Now along with the status, we will also need the categories that we are going to create feedbacks for. So what I will do is I'm going to create another file which will be category-data.ts. Now in this, what we will do is first we're going to create all the categories. So I'm simply going to copy paste all the categories that we will have. So these categories are the feature, improvement, bug, and decision others. And we have all the cosmetic changes like the background, the text, what will be the icon when we have this feature category and everything. Now what we will do is from this feature category, we are going to create the category type. So to create category types, we have the export, I will have the type, and I will have the category type. So we have 5 types of categories. So we want this other, design, and everything. Now to get that, what we will do is we are going to have that we need to take the key of type of categories. Okay, when I take this, you will see now if I hover it that the types will be feature, improvement, bug, design, and other. So that's are all the category types. Now we will also have that if we want to get the design of a particular category. So let's have, we have the other. Now for this other category, we need to get all the designs that we need to show. So what I will do is I'm going to create a function which will help us to get the design. So I will have the function get category design, and this is going to accept a category first. So that category will be of type string, and it is going to return the type of categories. I will have the key of type of, and we are going to have the categories. Okay, so we have this one. Now what we will do is we are going to create a constant. I will have the key, and I will take the key category as category type. Now once I have the key, I just need to get the design for that key. So I'm going to return, I will take the categories of that key, whatever the key we have. And if that is not, then there will be a fallback. We are going to take the categories of other. Okay, so this is the simple data for the categories, and this is the data for the status. Now what we were doing is we were doing this status change API. So I will have the export async, and we are going to have the function. So this was going to be a patch endpoint because we are just going to update part of our data, and this is going to have the request, which is going to be a next request, and we will also get the parameter that for which feedback you need to change the status. So to get the feedback, I'm going to have the params, and these params will be of type promise. So I will have a promise, then inside the promise I'm going to have this ID, and this is going to be of type string. Okay, so we have this one. Now after that we are going to have our function, and here we are going to have the try catch block. Okay, the first thing we will do is we are going to have the constant. We will be having the user ID. I'm going to have the await, and I will be using the auth function to get that, so which will be coming from the Clerk Next.js server. Okay, so we have this. Now if that is not the case, what we will do is, if we are not getting the user ID, and you can also do this one with the other approach which we have did it in here. So if I go here, you will also do this, the same thing. You get the DB user, you can make use of the ID of the DB user, and this is another way you can directly get the user ID. But if there is no user ID, then you will have an unauthorized, which will be very similar to this. So I'm going to copy and I'm going to put it here, and this is going to be next response. But if that is not the case, then what we will do is we're going to have to check whether the user who is changing the status is an admin user or not, because changing a status is only allowed on the admin user. A normal user cannot do that. So I'm going to have that check if user is admin. And how we can do that is, I'm going to have a constant user which will be equals to the await Prisma user dot find unique, and we're going to have our where clause, and inside the where clause we are going to have that our clerk user ID is equals to the user ID that we have. And if that is okay, then what we will do is that if we don't have a user, or we have the user dot role and that role is not equals to the admin, then we are going to throw the error. So we're going to have a return, and our response will be next response dot JSON, and we will have error, and here we are going to have that admin access required. So to do this operation, we will need an admin access. So I will have the status as 403. Okay, but if this is not the case, then what we will do is we are going to have our constant status, and this status will be equals to the await. I'm going to have the request dot JSON. So we get the new status from our request by changing the status of a feedback. So we get this new status. Now what we will do is we will also need to ID of the post for which we need to change the status. So this is going to be post ID, and this is going to be equals to the await params. So we get the post ID, and for this post ID we need to make a change in the status value. Now we need to check whether the status which we have selected from the drop down is a part of valid status. So currently our valid statuses are only these 4. So we need to make a check on that one. So what I will do is I will have validate status, and in this what I will do is, if we're going to have the status order dot includes the status that we have provided. So this is going to be status. So that means the status which we have provided is not part of the status order data. Then in that case we are going to have a next response dot JSON, and what we are going to pass, we're going to pass the error as invalid status. Okay, the status we have provided is not a valid status and it's a bad request. So I'm going to have the status as 400. Okay, so this part is done. But if that is not the case and everything is okay, then we are just going to do an update. So I will have the update post that is going to equals to the await. We are going to have the Prisma dot post dot update, and in the update what we will do is we need to first have the where clause, that which post you need to update. So the ID will be equal to the post ID that we have passed. Okay, so we see here that we get an error, and the error is because we have this post ID as a string and this ID as a number. So what we can do is we can go here and we can just make change as number, because our ID will be in the form of a number, and then we can have our data here. In the data what we need to update is we need to update the status, and after that what we will do is we need to include in the response. So we will be including the author as true, and we will be having the votes as true. Okay, so we have these two. Now let's return the response. So I will have the return next response, and I will have the response dot JSON update post. All right, so maybe I will just change it to updated post so it makes more sense. So I will have the updated post. And if that is not the case, then we will just throw an error. So I will just copy that. So I'm going to go here, I will copy this and I'm going to put it here. So I will go here and I will put it here, and here you will have the error updating post status. So I will have the status here. Okay, so we have done this as well. Now the last API we need is the votes API. So what I will do is I'm going to close this and I'm going to go to the votes part. So let me go to the vote and let's work on this one. So I'm going to just change this to votes. So I will have the rename as votes. Okay, so here I will create the export async function, and this is going to be a post. We will need the request. So I will have the request as next request. And then what we will do is first let's have the try catch. So I'm going to have the try catch block. I'm going to just copy from the feedback. Okay, so first thing will be we will be taking it from the DB user to sync user, and then we will have this one. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to put it here. Okay, let's import the sync user. So I have the sync current user and I will import the next response. So we have both these two. After that, what we will do is we are going to get the post ID. So here I'm going to have the post ID, and now here I will have that if there is no post ID, then in that case what we will do is we are going to return, and we are going to return the next response dot JSON, and we will be having the error, and the error will be post ID is required, and the status will be 400 because it's a client-side validation error. So we're going to have the 400 status. But if that is not the case, then what we will do is we are going to first have the check if vote already exists. So let's say it could be that you have already given a vote for a particular feedback. So in that case, we need to first, if you have given it, we need to remove it, and if you have not given it, we need to add it. So I'm going to have a constant existing vote. This will be equals to the await. Let's have the Prisma dot vote, and I'm going to have the find unique. Okay, and we need to provide the where clause for which we are checking this. So here we are going to have the user ID underscore post ID, and then we are going to pass the user ID first. So I will have the user ID as our db user dot ID, and then we will also need to pass the post ID which we have it. So I will have the post ID. Okay, so we see that we get an error, and here also we getting an error as vote where unique input. So maybe we did a mistake in our schema. So let's go and let's check in the schema, and here we see that we have the vote but did not provided the unique here. So let me have the unique, and what unique would be that user ID, and then it will be the post ID, and we will also need to provide the map for which this has to be referenced. So we will be having the table name as votes. So we have these two. What we need to do is we need to first do the migration. So I will have this migration. Okay, the database is sync now, and then we're going to have the Prisma client. So I'm going to have the generate client. So now it should work. So if we go here, then we don't have any errors. All right, so we have this one. After that, what we will do is we're going to have the existing vote. And now if we will check that if we have the existing vote, then in that case what we need to do is we need to remove vote. So we have to toggle. So how we can do that? I will have the await. We are going to have the Prisma dot vote, and then we are going to have the delete. So if we want to remove, then we need to delete it. All right, so for deleting, what we will need is we will be having where, and for which we want to delete is we want to delete the ID as existing vote dot ID. So that's one thing. And after that, what we will do is we are going to return. So I'm going to have here return next response dot JSON, and we are going to have as voted false. So that means the vote has been removed. But if that is not the case, then in that case you need to add the vote. So for adding, what you will do is I'm going to just copy this. I'm going to add it here. Instead of remove, I will have the add vote. Here instead of this one, we are going to have the create vote, and we want to create a vote, so we need to provide the data. So I'm going to have the data, and for the data what you will have is you're going to have the user ID. So that will be coming from the DB user ID, and another thing you will need is the post ID for which you want to create the post. All right, we added both these two. Now I'm going to copy this and I'm going to add this here. and here it is going to become voted true. Okay, so this part is done. If there is an error, we are just going to copy paste. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to add it here. So I'm going to go here and I will add it here, and here you will be having the error toggling vote. Okay, and then we will have the internal server error. All right, so now if we go and just check, so if I go here and we will just check it for the get this one endpoint, so that we can get all the posts. So if I go here, we're going to go to the API, we're going to go to slash, and we're going to go to the feedback, and if I hit enter, then you see we get an empty array because we don't have any posts. Because if I go here, then if we go to the post, then we don't see any post here, but we do have the users here. So the API part is done. We have all the 3 APIs for our project: the feedback, get feedback, status change, and the vote API. Now the next thing what we will do is we are start going to work on the feedback, and here the first thing we will do is we are going to get the user ID of a logged in user. So I'm going to have the get user ID, and we will be getting this from the Clerk Auth. Okay, so if we want to get it, what we can do is we can just have a constant, we can have our user ID, and this is going to be equals to await, and then we can have the auth. The auth will come from the Clerk Next.js server. After that, what we will do is since this is the feedback page which is going to display all the feedbacks that we have created, I know that right now we have no feedbacks, but we will just write the logic and everything. So I'm going to have a post here. This is going to fetch all the posts from the database. So we are going to have the prisma.post, and we will be using find many. Prisma is not auto imported. Now we're going to have the find many, and in this what we will do is we are going to include what we want to include when we fetch all our feedbacks. So we are going to fetch the author, make it as true, and then we will also need to have the votes. So I'm going to have the votes as true. Apart from that, we will also going to have an order by, so that we can order them as per the created date. So I'm going to have the descending here. Now we will also need to display the categories. So all the posts will be based on the categories. So if I go here, and here you will see that we have these categories, and then we have different posts. So let's do that. So what I will do is I'm going to go here, and I will have the constant categories, and this category is equals to, I will use await, and let's have it from prisma.post, and we are going to group all the posts by categories. So we can use this group by. Now here what we want to do is we want to group by for which column you want to group by. So our column name is category, so we can have the category here. All right, once we have it, we can also take the count, and this is going to give us the count of the categories we have. So this is going to just give us all the different types of categories that is available in the database. Now let's work on this JSX part. Now in the JSX, the first thing we will do is let's have the empty fragment, and inside the empty fragment I'm going to create a main div which is going to have a class name as space y6. After that, we need to have a gradient, so we will have this gradient, and in this gradient what we will have is we are going to have these 2 buttons, the new feedback and the view roadmap. So let's go and let's do that. So what I will do is I'm going to come here, and I'm going to import our gradient header component. Now in this gradient header component, what I will do is I'm going to pass the title first. So our title will be community feedback. Now after the title, we will also need to have the subtitle. So for the subtitle, I will just copy and I will paste it here. Okay, so we have the title, and then we also have the subtitle. Now inside that, we are going to have our button and everything. So I'm going to have a div. Basically what I can do is I can use the buttons same from the home page. So I can go to the page, and I can go up here, and here I can just take these buttons. So I will just copy, and I'm going to paste those buttons here. So I will come here and I will put them here. Okay, and then we will just import the button also. Okay, so we need to import the link also, and it will go to the feedback new, and I will just change the name. So the name will be new feedback, and also I will remove this arrow from here, and I'm going to put it here, and I'm going to add as a plus icon. So I will have the plus icon. Okay, and the second one will be the link to roadmap, and we can have the map here. So I will have the map imported. Okay, so let's go and let's check. So if I go back here, and if we go to our feedback page, so I will go to the feedback page, then we see that we have this one, we have the new feedback and we have the roadmap, but there is no space between them. So let's fix that. So I will go back here, and what I will do is I'm going to just put the gap here. So I will have the gap as 4, and that is going to create the space between the buttons. All right, so we have this one as well. Now if I click on this new feedback, this is going to take me to the new feedback page, and if I click on the view roadmap, this is going to take me to the roadmap page. What I will do is for the roadmap, I'm going to just take the map from here and I'm going to put the map here. Now our gradient is done. Now the next thing we need to do is we need to display the categories on the sidebar. So what I will do is I'm going to have here a div, and let me give a class to this div as grid. I will have the grid column 1, and then for the larger device I'm going to have the grid call as 4, and then I will have the gap as 6. Okay, now inside this what we will do is first I'm going to have the sidebar. So I will have the sidebar here, and then we are going to have the main content. So this is going to be a main content. Okay, now let's create the sidebar. So for the sidebar I'm going to have a div, and on this what I will do is I'm going to have the class name, and we can have the LG. For larger devices we are going to use the column pan 1, and let's have the space y6 so that we get a space between the elements in this div. Okay, after that we will just make use of the card component, and for the card component I'm going to have first the card header, and on the header we are going to have the title. So inside this I'm going to have the card title, and the title will be categories. Now once we have the card title, the next one will be the card description. So I'm going to have the card description, and the description will be browse feedback by category. This will allow us to look all the feedbacks based on the category. Now after this we are going to get the card content. So I'm going to have the card content, and inside the card content let's create a div, and we loop through all the categories. So this div I'm going to give the class, and I'm going to give the space y3, and inside this what we will do is we're going to have this categories with us. Now just loop through this category. So I will have the category map, then I'm going to get my individual category, and I will have the brackets. Now after this what we will do is we are first going to have the design for each of the category. So if I go to the data part which we have created, and if I go to the categories, then we have a design for each of the categories, and this design is something like the background text border, and we also have a function which is the get category design. So we'll make use of that. So what I will do is I'm going to have the get category design, and inside that I need to pass a category. So I will have the cat dot category. Okay, after that I will have a constant, and I will take out the icon. So I'm going to create icon, and this will be the design dot icon. Okay, next what we will do is we are going to return a JSX from here. So I'm going to have a JSX as div. So I'm going to close this div, and on this div since we are missing the key prop, so let's add the key prop, and this prop will be the cat dot category. Let's give some classes to it. So I'm going to just do a copy paste for the classes, and I'm going to add all the classes here. Okay, so this is done. After that we are going to create another div. So I'm going to come here, and I will have another div, and I'm going to give the class name on this div as flex. I want items to be in the center, and then we want the gap between them should be 3. Okay, so we have this one. I will just close this div. Okay, next we are going to create another div inside that, and here what we will do is if I go back here and if I come here, then we first need to get the icon, then we need to get the name of the category, and then we need to get the count of the feedback. So let's do that one. So I'm going to come here, and I'm going to have the classes here, round brackets and a backtick, and inside the backtick I'm going to give the padding 2, and then I will have the rounded as LG. Then we are going to have our design dot light. After that we will be having our design dot border, and then we're going to have the border. Okay, so we have this one, and inside this what we will do is we are going to place our icon that we have. So I'm going to have the class name, and here what we will do is we are going to have the backticks, and we have the height as 4, width as 4, and we will be using the design text. So I will have the design dot text. All right, we have this one. Now after that what we will do is we are going to create an span, and we are going to add the category there. So I will have the span, and inside the span I'm going to have my cat dot category, and what I will do is I'm going to just give a classes here. So I will have the class name as font medium, and I will have the text as SM. All right, so we have this one. Now if we go here, then we see that we also have a badge which contains the count. So let's create that badge which will have the count. So I'm going to come here, and here I will have the badge which is coming from the UI badge, and we need to define the variant for the badge. So we are going to have the variant, and our variant will be secondary. Then I'm going to give the classes. Let's have a backtick again, and if you want to see all these classes which we are getting, design, light, text, those are already defined here. So this this is the light, this is the border, this is the text. So we are just using them to make it look a little bit nice. All right, so here we will have our design. So I'm going to have the design dot light, and then the other class we want to add is the design dot text for the text. So I will have the text, and here we will have the count. So we already have the cat dot count, so we will display the count here. All right, so we have done this one. So if we go and check, so if I go here and if I come here, then here you will not see any categories, because right now from our database we were not able to fetch any categories because they don't exist. So we will try to create the content later on so that we have some content to display here. Now in the main section, what we will have is we are going to create a div. I'm going to give a class name as lg call pan3, and inside this we are going to have our feedback list. So I'm going to have the feedback list, and this feedback list is going to take the initial post. So I'm going to have the initial post, so whatever post we have fetched from the database, and it is also going to take the user ID who has a logged in user. So I'm going to have my user ID. All right, now we need to create this feedback list. So what I will do is I'm going to go to the components folder, and inside the components folder I'm going to have the feedback list.tsx. okay, so in the feedback list, what I will do is I'm going to have the export default function feedback list, and we are going to have our props. So our props were the initial post, and the other prop was the user ID. Okay, now they both have some type. So we will having the initial post, and this initial post would be of type, I will just put any, and then I'm going to have the user ID, and this user ID will be either a string or it can also be a null. Okay, so I get a complaint here. What I can do is I can just disable for now. Okay, so now I will not see any error. Now after that, what we will do is we are going to have our function, and then we can just have a return statement from here, and here we are going to have the feedback list. Okay, if I go here, then I see feedback is not defined because we did not import it. So I will go back here, and here we can just import it. So I will have the feedback list. Okay, so now we have this feedback list, and this list is going to display all the feedbacks what we have it here. So what I can do is I can just create some records, and I can also have some data which I can just display it. All right, so for that we need to first create some accounts. So I will just do that quickly. All right, so we have created few users here in our Clerk dashboard. You can just click on the create new user, you can fill the details, and then these users will be created. Right now you will see that these users have the last sign in, they haven't signed in. So we need to make them sign in so that these users get sync with our database. So if I go here, then we also have multiple users here. So what I will do is I will quickly go here and I will sign in all of them. All right, so I have signed in with all the users, and now all these users have been synced. So if I go to the Clerk, if I go to the users, then you will see that these all now have the last sign in. If I also go to Prisma, and if I refresh it, then you will see that we have all the different users here in our database as well. Now what we need to do is if we go back here, and if we want the feedback list, before that we should be having some provision to create the feedbacks. Now to create the feedbacks, what you will have is you need to go to the new, and you need to write this new feedback page where you will have a form and you can submit a feedback. So let's work on this part first so that we can also create the feedbacks, and we will first create the JSX and the form part. So I'm going to have here return, and let me have the JSX. So first I'm going to start with a div. I will give a class name to this div as max width. I'm going to give the width as 2xl. Okay, after that we're going to have the max auto, and then we are going to have the space y6. So we have that one. After that I'm going to create another div, and I'm going to give the classes as flex. I will have the items as center, and I'm going to give the gap as 2. Next what I will do is inside this gap I'm going to create a button. So let me go to the button, and I want to give a variant to this button. So the variant will be ghost. Now here I also need to give a size. So let me give the size as icon, and after that I'm going to use this as child, the button. Then we are going to have the link, which will be from the next link, and in the link let's give the href. Okay, so we will have the href as /feedback. After that what we will do is we are going to define an arrow here. So let me have the arrow icon, arrow left, and in this let's define some classes. So I'm going to have the height as 4 and width as 4. If we go and check, then if I go here and if I go to the submit feedback, then we just have this arrow, and if I go here, then we need to design this form where we can share our feedback and everything. All right, So let's go and let's work on that one. So we have this one, I have the button and everything. Then we are going to have the h1, and on the h1 I will have the class as text 3xl. I will have the font as bold, and here I'm going to have share your feedback. Okay, once we are done with the h1 tag, we are now going to create a card component, and inside the card component I will first have the card header, and inside the card header we are going to have the card title, and the title will be new feedback. After the title we will have our description part, so I'm going to have the card description, and we are going to have a description. I will just do a copy paste of the description text. So we are going to have this as description. We need to import the card. We also have the description. After the description we need to give the content of our card, so I'm going to have the card content, and inside the card content we are going to create the form. So let me have a form here. To the form we need to provide the action, so I will just give the action as like this for now. I will afterwards give the action value. So we are going to have the class name here. I will have the space y6, so it will give me space between our elements. Now we are going to create the form, so I will have the div. I will have the class name as space y2, and here what I will do is I'm going to have first the label, but I don't see that we have added that. What I will do is I'm going to go here and I'm going to add that. So I'm going to add here the label, and I'm going to hit enter, and this is going to add the label to our UI repository. Okay, so we have the label added. Now as the label is added, what we can do is now we can just import it. So I will have the label component. Now on this label I will have the HTML for title, and here I'm going to have the title. Okay, after the label what we will do is we are going to have the input from the SignIn UI, and on this input we are going to give the ID first. So let me have the ID as title, and after the ID we are going to give the name, and that name will also be title. Then we are going to give the placeholder. So let me have the placeholder, and here is what would you like to see. Okay, now after that what we will do is we have this one, and we will make it as a required field. So we have this one. Now I will just copy this, and I'm going to create the another field. So the second field we want is the category. So I'm going to have this as a category. I'm going to change this as a category. I will have the ID and name as category. Okay, and we are not going to use the input. It is going to be a select. So what I will do is I'm going to simply have a select. Now inside the select I'm going to give the ID as category. Then we will have the name, that will also be category. After that we are going to give some classes to it, and we are going to give the class as width we want as full. We want padding on x-axis as 3. We want padding on y-axis as 2. We will have the border. We are going to have the rounded MD, and after that we are going to have the background. So we have that, and inside this what we will do is we will also need to define the default value. So let me have the default value, and the default value would be, we have the categories. So what I will do is I will just define the category types. So I will just go to my category, and here I'm going to have the category types. Okay, so here we have this category type, it's a type of it, but here we have the array of all the categories. So I will just give it as underscore. So what I can do is I can just use this. So I will take this, and I'm going to have it here, and we need to make it also export. So I will have the export constant categories. Now this can be imported, so we will be having categories type, and here what we will do is for the categories type the default value will be the 0th element. So we will be having that 0th element, and let's have the options now. So for the options we are going to have the categories type dot map on it, which is going to give me an individual category, and then we are going to have the options. So I will have the option. We need to define the key to that option, and the key will be category. Now we need to define the value as well, and the value will also be a category. Okay, and here we are going to have the display text, which is the category. So we have this one. Our select is also ready. Now the third one we will going to do is for the text area where we are going to write it. So I'm just going to copy this. I'm going to add it here, and this I'm going to change is to description. This is going to change to description, and then we are going to have the text area. So we don't have a text area from the SignIn UI, so let's add that as well. So I will go here, and I'm going to add the text area. Okay, so we have the text area as well, so I'm going to change this to text area. Now we are going to have the ID as description, we are going to have the name as description. For the placeholder, we are going to define describe your idea in detail, and I will have the dot dot dot. I will make this also required field. Alright, so we did this, and now last we need to have a button where we can just submit it. So I will have a class name. I will have the flex gap as 4. Now inside that, what I will do is I'm going to have the button. I will have the type of that button as submit. So I will have the submit here. After that, we are going to have the disabled, and we are going to add the state here so that we can define the button. So for now, I will just keep it as it is. I'm not adding anything inside this, and we have this button done. Now there will be another button if we want to cancel it. So I will have the button, and this is going to be a type of button. We need to define a variant to it. My variant would be outline, and I will have it as child. And here what I will do is I'm going to have the link that when you click on this, where it will go. And on this link, we need to define the href. And on the href, what we will do is we are going to take it back to the feedback page. So I will have the feedback, and here we can have the cancel. So we have this one. Now if we go and check, then if I refresh this, okay, so we have a problem. Okay, let's fix them first. So what I will do is I will go here, and we need to define an action here. So what I will do is I will just have an action for now, and I will show you that what this action is. Okay, so I will go and create the use action state. So here we are going to have the constant, and we will be having the state, we will be having the action, and we will be having the is pending. So we will be using the React 19 use action state, and when we make use of the use action state, we need to make this component as a client component because we are using the hook. So I will be having here use client. Okay, and since it's complaining, so we don't have to keep it async, so I will just remove the async, and let's try to import this. So this is going to be use action state. And what this expects is it expects two things. One is the callback function, and another one is the initial state. So I will have my callback function as submit feedback, and my initial state as an object where I will be having the success as false and the error state. So I'm going to have the error. So these are the initial state. Now we don't have anything for the submit feedback, but we need to have that one. Now if I go here, then we have the action, and now we also have the is pending. So I can use the is pending. So I will have the is pending here, and inside this I will have the if it's pending, then in that case I need to display some text. If not, then I display something else. And what I will do is if it's pending and it's true, that means it is submitting. So I'm going to have a text as submitting, and if that is not the case, then I'm going to have a text as submit feedback. So we have this part, and we don't have any errors now. Now we need to create this submit feedback. So what I will do is I'm going to go here, and we need to create this server action. So I will have the server action function, and our function is the async function submit feedback. Now this is going to have a prev state, and our previous state will be success as boolean, and we are going to have the error, which will be a string. Now other than that, we are going to have our form data, which is going to get. So whenever we fill this form, we are going to get the form data, which will be of type form data. So we have these two things. Now after this, what we will have next is we are going to have our, so I will use the toast component first. So I will have the show loading toast, and in this what we will do is I'm going to use the constant for a loading toast, and this is going to be equals to a toast, which is from the sonar dot, and we are going to apply the loading, and inside this we are going to write the submitting your feedback. Now after this, what I will do is I'm going to use the try catch block, and in the try block we are first going to have a constant response. We need to make an API call and send this data for submission. So I'm going to have the fetch, and inside the fetch we are going to have our API. We will be having the feedback. Then we need to provide the method. So our method will be post. So I will have the post. After the method, we are going to have our headers, and our headers will be I'm going to have the content type, and I'm going to have the application slash JSON. After that, what we are going to do is we are going to pass the body. So I will have the body, and in the body I'm going to have my JSON dot stringify, and we are going to stringify the form data. So to get that, what we will do is first we need to have the title of the form. We are going to get it from the form data dot get, and we need to give the title. After getting the title, the next one will be the description. So I will have the description, and the description will be form data dot get, and we get the description. So I will just copy this and I'm going to put it here. And we need to get the category. So I'm going to have the category. We are going to get it from the form data dot, and we'll have the category. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to put it here. So we have these three things. Now what we will do next is that if we get the response, so I will have that if there is no response dot, okay, so we get this await here. So what we can do is we can use the await here, so we get the response as awaited and we don't have to put it here. Okay, so if the response is not okay, then in that case we are going to have throw new error, and we will be having failed to create post. Okay, so our feedback is not created. But if that is not the case, then in that case what we will do is first we are going to dismiss the loading. So I will have the dismiss loading toast and show success. So here I'm going to have the toast dot dismiss, and we need to dismiss our loading toast. Then we need to have our success toast. So I will have the toast dot success, and in the success we are going to have the your feedback has been submitted successfully, and then we can return our state from here. So we're going to return success as true, error will be empty string. All right, but if that is not the case, then what we will do is in the catch also we are first going to dismiss this. So I'm going to just copy this too, and if we come in the error, the first thing we will do is we're going to have the console dot error, and here I'm going to have that something went wrong, please try again, and I'm going to just log the error that I have received. After that, what we will do is I'm going to dismiss the toast, and this time instead of the success it is going to be an error toast. So I'm going to have the error, and here we are going to have that something went wrong. Okay, now after that what we will do is we are going to return our state as well. So I'm going to just copy the state, and I'm going to go here and I will add the state. This time the success is going to be false, and the error is going to return some error message. So it will be failed to submit feedback. So we have done this one. If we want to give a try, what we will do is we are going to go here. Okay, we see that there is some issue with the alignments. So let's go and let's fix that one. So what I will do is first I'm going to go here, and here I'm going to have a div. I will have another div, and here the spelling is mistake. So it is going to be flex. Second issue is with the title. So what we will do is we are going to have the card, and we see that we have not closed the card header properly. So I'm going to come here, I will cut this card header, and this card header will get closed here itself. Now if we go and see, then we see that we have everything correct, and we can also have that we have Ram Mehra as a logged in user, so he can create something. So what I will do is I'm going to just create from here. So I'm going to just copy this new developer requirement. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to add it as new developer requirement. I will put the category as other. So I'm going to come here and put the category as other, and then we're going to have the description. So I will just copy this and I'm going to put this as here. Okay, now if I go to the network tab and if we try to send the request, so if I click on submit, then we see that your feedback has been submitted successfully. But what we want is that after the feedback is submitted successfully, we want to take the user to the feedback list page. So what we can do for that is if we go back here, then we can just introduce a use effect and we can redirect it. So I'm going to have the redirect on success. So I will be using use effect, and in this use effect what I will do is that if my state is success, then in that case I'm going to use a timer, and I will use the set timeout. So I will have the set timeout, and inside the set timeout callback function I'm going to have a timeout after 1500 milliseconds. Okay, so we will wait the toast for 1500 milliseconds. So we will be having wait for toast to be visible, and after 1500 millisecond what we will do is we are going to redirect. We also need to clear this. So what I will do is when you have a return, in that case we are going to use the clear timeout and we give our timer here. Okay, now this should be dependent on the state dot success. Now we need to redirect. So for redirection we're going to use the router. I will have a constant. We are going to have the router, and this is going to be use router from the next navigation. Okay, Now we have this router. Now we can make use of it. So I will go here and I'm going to have here a router dot push, and we want the user to be pushed on the feedback page, and then we are going to have the router dot refresh. All right, so we have this one. Now we will also that if there is a change in the router, we are going to use it as a dependency. So I'm going to use it here. Now this is done. Now if we want to give a try, we can check. Now let's create another one. So I'm going to have a title. So I'm going to create one more, and that will be performance issue. So I'm going to go here and I will have performance issue, and that will be in the improvements. So I'm going to just select the improvement, and I will also copy this description. So this will be in the improvement. I will copy the description, and now I'm going to click on submit. Now you see that when I submit it, after some time it takes me to the feedback page, and that's working. And here you will also notice that we are also getting the counts now. So we are getting the other as 1 and improvement as 1. Let me do another one. So I'm going to just do a logout, and now I'm going to sign in with some other users. So let me sign in with Nathan. Okay, and then I'm going to give the password, and once we are logged in, we can also change the icon as well. So if I go to manage account, and if I go and change the profile picture, so let me upload a profile picture, and I'm going to upload this one. Okay, and I'm going to close this, and now you see that we have the icon here. So that's fine. Let's create another one. I'm going to have the additional space. So I'm going to put a submit feedback additional space. I'm going to put it under the bug, and I'm going to copy the description. So I will have the additional space under the bug, and I will have the description. I will click on submit, and you notice that the toast are not basically the colors we wanted. So it's in the white color, and we want this toast should be in the green color if it's a success. If it's an error, it should be in the red color. So for that, what you can do is, if I go back here, and I have to go to the layout, and in the layout, here you have the toaster. Here you can actually add the rich colors. Now after adding the rich colors, you will be able to see that now you have a colorful toast messages. So I'm going to create one more. Let me have this comment feature, and this comment feature will be under the feature. So I'm going to copy this. I will go here, and this will go under the feature, and I'm going to submit it. And this time you see that it's a green color. Your feedback has been submitted successfully. So that's how you can just add it. Now we have the new feedback ready. Now we need to just list down all the feedbacks here. So let's go to the feedback list page. So I'm going to go to the feedback list page, and in the feedback list phase, the first thing what we will do is first let's get the post. So I'm going to have my post set post, and this is going to be equals to the use state, and we are going to have the initial state as the initial posts. Now once we have the initial post, what we will do is we are going to create our JSX part. So I'm going to go here, and in the JSX we are going to change this to div first. Okay, on the div, let's have a class name. So I'm going to have the space y as 4, and then what we will do is we are going to loop through all the posts. So I will have the posts dot map. After that we are going to have the post, and then we will have the arrow function, and let's have the brackets. Now in this we are going to have our card component, and inside the card component, first we are going to have here the key. So the key will be the post ID. So I will have the post ID, and let's give some classes to it. So I'm going to have the classes as hover shadow md, and after that I'm going to have the transition shadow, and then I will have the border. Okay, so this is my card. Now inside the card I'm going to have my card header, and in the card header I will have a div. Now I will give some classes to this div. So they are going to have the flex items will be from the start. We will be having the justify between, and then we will have the gap as 2. The next we want is the another div, and this is going to have the class name as flex 1, and then we are going to have the min width as 0. Okay, then we are going to have our card title, and on the card title I will give the classes as text lg, and here we will be having the post title. After the title, we are next going to have the card description. So we will be having the card description, and in the card description what I will do is I'm going to have the class name as flex. I will be having the items as center, then we will be having the gap as 1.5, and then we are going to have the margin top as 1. Now in the description what you want is first I want a user icon. So I will be having my user icon. Let me give the class name to this user icons, and this will be height as 3 and width as 3. After the user we are going to display the post author. So this will be post author dot name. Okay, if we go and check, Then we see the use state. Okay, so what we have to do is we need to make this as a use client. So we have to make this as a client component. We have the comment feature, we have the Nathan Desmet, and similarly if we go and check, then we will have here as well. Okay, so let's go and let's build this completely. Okay, so I will go back here. So we're gonna here have a span, and inside the span we will have this. Then after this we are going to have another span, and we are going to have the date here. So I will have the class name. I will be having the white space as no wrap, and inside this what we will do is we are going to use this format distance. So I will be having the format distance to now. So we will be providing the new date, and inside the new date we are going to just provide the post dot created at, and after that we are going to use the add suffix as true. Okay, so if I go and check, then if I refresh this page, then here you will see that we have this 8 minutes ago, 8 minutes ago, 11 minutes ago, and 14 minutes ago. Okay, so this part is also now looking a little bit better. Now if we go back here, and then the next thing we need to add is the badges. So if I go here, then we have this badges, the completed, which is the status, and the badge for the category. So let's do that one. So I will have my description. After description I have my div. Then here I'm going to have another div, and I will give the class name. So this is going to be flex. I will have the gap as 1.5. After that what we will do is we are going to have our status badges. So I will have the status, and we will be having the badge. Now to get the status badges, what I will do is I'm going to create a anonymous function for self execution. So I will be having something like this. Now we need to also execute this function, so I will just have it like this. Now the first thing it will do is we need to get all the statuses. So I will have the status group, and this is going to be equals to, we're going to have our status group. So let me take those status groups which we have created. So if I go to the data, and if I go to the status group, so this is the status group, because we need all this title, description, icons, and everything, color and everything. So that's why we take this status group. So if I go back here, we have the status group. Now in the status group, which status group we want is we are going to take the post dot status, whatever the status we have in the post, as key of, and we are going to use the type of status group. So I will be having the type of status groups. Now next what we will have, that if the status group is not available, then in that case we are just going to return null. But if that is not the case, then in that case what we will do is we are going to have the constant, we are going to have the status icon, and this is going to be equals to the status group dot, we're going to have the icon. So we'll take the icon from there. Once we have the icon, we are going to return from here badge. So I'm going to have a badge which is coming from the UI badge, and on this badge what I will do is first let's have the class names. So I'm going to just copy paste the class names that we want on the badge. So these are the badges and the colors we wanted. Now once we have that, what we will do next is we need to give the status icon which is inside the badge, and let's give the classes to this. So I will have the class height as 3 and width as 3, and after that we just need to define the status title. So I will have the status group, and dot, I will have the title, which is I'm going to add it here. So we have that. If we go and check, so if I come here, then you see we have all this under review, under review, under review, and under review. So we have all the badges and the statuses. Now the next what we will do is we will also need to have a very similar for the categories. So here I'm going to have the category badge, and I will just do a copy paste. Then I will just update and change the values. So I will just do a copy, I will have a paste here. Now here I'm going to first remove this, and we are first going to have a constant. We need to have a design, and we have a get category design function. Okay, inside the category design function I need to pass the category. So I will have the post dot category. After that I'm going to have the icon, and this icon is going to be from the design dot icon. Now we have the badge, and in the badge what I will do is first I'm going to have the variant, and my variant will be outline, and then we need to provide the class names. So I'm going to just copy paste of the class names, and after that let's give me the icon. So I will have my icon, and here we are going to have the post category. So I will have the post, and I'm going to have the category. Now if I go and check, then we should be having the post and their category. So you see here feature, bug, improvement, and other. Okay, so this part is also done. Now we just need to display the description. So we have the description and we have the vote part. So I will go back here. We will go to the header section, which is now completed. And now let's come to the content part. So I will have the card content. Now inside the card content, we are going to have the paragraph tag. I will give the classes to it. So I will be having the text mutate foreground, and here the value would be post dot description. Here I will also give the margin bottom as 3. Now after having the post description, what I will do is I'm going to have a div. I will have a class name to it. I will give the flex. I will have the items center and justify between. Now after this, what I have to do is I'm going to create a button, and this is going to have a variant as outline. Next, I'm going to provide the size of that button, so that is going to be SM, and then we need to give a on click to it. So whenever you click on that button, we need to give the vote. So I'm going to have a function here as handle vote. So we are going to write this function, but for now I will just keep the function as like this. And when you want to handle the vote, you need the post ID. Okay, and after that, what we will do is we are going to define the class name. So I will be having the gap as 2. Now here we are going to have the thumbs up icon. So we are going to have the thumbs up icon, and we can have the classes to the thumbs up icon. So I will have the class name, and we need to provide it as a conditional. So what I will do is I will simply do a copy paste of a code, and then I will just explain you. And here what we are doing is we are first giving the classes height and width, and then we are seeing that if post vote sum, if it matches for this particular user ID, then we need to do a fill current, which is going to fill that we have voted it. If not, we need to make it blank. After this, we need to have our count. So I'm going to have the post dot votes dot length, and here we are going to have the votes as a text. And then we will also have this another one which will be a simple UI stuff for the comment. So I'm going to have a class name. I'm going to just copy paste the class names here. Now inside this, what I will do is I'm going to have the message icon. So I will have the message square, and on the message square I will just have a class name, and I'm going to name as height as 4, width as 4, and below that I'm going to simply have the comment. So we have this one. Now if I go and check, then we have the votes here, we have the comments here, and we have the badges as well here. Now what we need to do is we need to write the handle vote function so that we can also vote our feedbacks. So I will go here up, and here below the post, I'm going to have my constant handle vote function, and this is going to be an async function. I'm going to have my arrow function here. What I will receive is I'm going to receive the post ID, which is going to be a number. And after that, what we will do is we're going to have that if we don't have any user ID, then in that case we need to toast dot error. Okay, so toast is not imported, so I will again have the toast dot error, and here we are going to have that please sign in to vote on feedback. So we will show the feedbacks to all the user, whether you are signed in or sign out. But if you want to vote any of the feedback, then you need to log in, and then we will simply have the return. The next part is that we are going to have this show loader again. So I will be having the show loading toast, and here I'm going to have the constant loading toast, and this is going to be toast dot loading, and we are going to have that we will be using submitting vote. Okay, after that we are going to use the try catch block. So we will be having the try catch block, and in the try block what we want is we're going to have the constant, we will be having the response, which is going to be equals to, we will have the await, and we will make use of fetch to make the API call. We will be having the slash API slash votes, and if we go here in the API, we have this votes. Okay, and we need to pass the body as well. So we will be having the method and everything. So what I will do is I will just do a copy paste from the new, and I will put it here. All right, so we will be having a post method. We will have this one, and here what we will do is we are going to have the JSON stringify, and we need to have the post ID. Okay, then next what we need to do is we are going to again do the same copy paste, and I'm going to go here and I'm going to add it here. Now if the response is not okay, then in that case we're going to have here vote failed. But if that is not the case, then what we will do is we are going to have a constant, and we will get the data back. I will have the await, and we are going to get the response dot JSON. And after that we will just dismiss this, and here we are going to have the success part. So what we will do here is the success part, that if our data dot voted, so we are going to have that if that is true, then we need to display some message. If not, then we need to display something else. So if data dot voted is true, then we are going to have the vote added, and if that is not, then in that case we are going to have the vote removed. Okay, now what is this data dot voted is something, if you go here, then you will see that what we are returning the voted as true. So this is what we have. Now after that, what we will do is we need to define the local state, because we also need to update this post value that the count has been increased, all right, so that it get displayed on the screen. So here what we will do is we are just going to update the local state. So here what we will have is we are going to have the set post, and we need to set the post here. So we will be having the posts dot map, and we are going to get the individual post, and this is going to be an arrow function. Now here we will have that if of the post dot id is equals to, we're going to have the post id, then in that case we are going to have the constant, and we will do the vote count, and this is going to be equal to the post dot votes dot length. Okay, so this is what the actual vote count we have it now. After making a vote, we need to increase it or we need to decrease it. So here what we will do is we are going to return, and we will be returning from here, we will get all the post attributes, and after that we're going to make a change only on the votes. So on the votes, what we will do is if the data dot voted, if that is the case, then in that case we have something, and if not, then we will have something else. So what we will have here is that if it is voted, then we need to add that. So I'm going to have the dot dot dot, we will be having the post dot vote, and we have the user ID. Okay, but if that's not the case, then what we will do is we are going to have the post dot votes dot filter, and we will be having v any here, and we will be having that the vote dot user id is not equals to the user id. Okay, and we also change the count. So here I'm going to have the count, and on the count what we will do is we will be having the votes. If we have the data dot voted true, then we will be having the vote count plus 1, and if that is not the case, then we will be having the vote count minus 1. So we have this one, we have already updated the local state, and then in the end what you can do is we can just return the post. Okay, and as soon as you return the post, all the things will get updated on your UI. But if that is not the case, and if we run into some errors, what we will do is I will just do a copy paste. The first thing is we need to have the console error, and this will going to change to failed to submit vote. Okay, after that we are going to dismiss the loading, and then we are going to have the toast message, and on the toast we are going to have the fail to submit vote, please try again, and then that's it. So I'm going to just remove this one. Okay, so we have this full feature ready. All right, so here the first thing we will do is we are going to get all the posts from our database. So I'm going to have a constant post, we will be having a wait, and we will be using Prisma dot in our post table, and then we will do find many, and inside this find many we will just have the include, that what fields we need to include. So we will be needing the author, so I will have the author as true, and after that we will be having the votes as true. Then we will do an order by, so I will have the order by, and we are going to do order by votes, and then let's take the count of the votes. So I will have the count, and I will make the count as descending. Now after having all the posts, what I want to do is if I go back here, then here I need to display all the posts based on the status. So I will need all the posts that are under review, all the posts that are under planned, in progress, and completed. So how we can achieve that is I'm going to create a group post. So I will have a constant, and I will have the grouped post, and this is going to be equals to, first we will need the under review, so I will have the under review. Now to get the posts that are under review, what we will do is we can simply apply a filter, and we will be able to get it. So I'm going to have the posts dot filter, and this filter is going to give us an individual post, and we will do that the post dot status, this should be equals to under review. So we get the all the posts that are under review. Now after that we are just going to copy paste. So I'm going to copy and I'm going to paste it. Then we will need for the plan. So I'm going to have all the posts that are equal to plan. Next we are going to have the in progress. So I will have in progress. Okay, and the last one is completed. So I'm going to have the completed. Okay, we see that there is an error here, and we can go and check for the post status which we have created. So if I go to the schema, and in the schema if we go, then here we see that we have a spelling mistake for the in progress. Okay, so we have the in progress here. Now since we have made a change, what we need to do is I'm going to go here and I'm going to update the schema. So I will have the Prisma migrate dev. Okay, I will do yes, and then after that I will just do a Prisma generate. Okay, so we have this one. Now we don't have any errors here. So we also have the group post. Now after group post, what we need is I will also need to display the total votes, and I want to display the average vote. So let's calculate them. I'm going to have a constant which will be having total votes, and this is going to be equals to posts, and we will be using dot reduce on it so that we can accumulate all the votes. So here I'm going to have an accumulator, and I will have an individual post. After that we are going to have an arrow function. I will have the accumulator plus we have the individual post, and on the individual post we need to take the votes length. So I will have the votes dot length, and then we're going to have the initial start. So I'm going to have 0 here. Okay, so this is going to give me the total votes. Now once I get the total votes, I can have the average votes. So I will have the average votes, and this average votes will be equals to, we are going to do first post dot length is greater than 0. Then in that case we need to have math dot round, and in the math dot round we will be using our total votes that will be divided by the post dot length. Okay, and if that is not the case, then we'll have the 0. Now here if we go and see, then we also have the calculate percentages of in progress, planned and completed. So we will just have that one. So what I will do is I'm going to go here, and below this we are going to have our calculate progress for the overall roadmap. So the first one will be the completed post. So I'm going to have the constant completed percentage, and this is going to be equals to I will just create a function to get the status percentage. So what I will do is I will go here, and here I'm going to create a function, and I'm going to name the function as get status percentage. And what this is going to accept is it is going to accept the posts which will be of type any, and then the status which will be of type string. Now here we're going to have this function, and inside this function what we will do is first let's have the total post. So I'm going to have the total, and this is going to be the post dot length. Now once I have my total post, what I need is I need all the count of the post with the status that I have provided. So to get that, what I will do is I will have a constant count, and we apply the filter simply. So post dot filter, and in the filter we are going to get the individual post, and then we're going to have the individual post dot status should be equal to the status that we have provided. Okay, so I get this one. What I will do is I will just do a quick fix, and I will infer the type and the usage. So from the P we are taking the status which is of type string, and then I'm just matching it. Now after this what we will do is we can calculate the percentage. So I will have return if the total is greater than 0. If we have the post, then only we are going to have the percentage of it. So I'm going to have the math dot round, and to calculate the percentage, what we will do is we are going to have our count divided by the total post count, and we are going to do multiplied by 100. So this is going to give us the percentage, and if that is not the case, we are going to have 0. Now let's use that one. So here I have this completed percentage, and to get that what I will do is I'm going to have the get status percentage. We're going to pass the post, and then we are going to pass the status that we want. So for us this will be completed. Okay, so we are going to get all the completed percentage. Now after completed we need the in progress and planned. So I'm going to have in progress here. So let me have in progress percentage. Okay, this get changed to in progress, and now this one will get changed to planned percentage. So I will have the planned percentage, and this is going to get changed to planned. So now we have all the information. We have our group post, we also have the total votes, average votes, we have all the percentage calculated and everything. Now since we are getting an error, what I will do is I will just disable the TypeScript for this entire file so that I don't get any errors. Now let's create the JSX part for this one. So first one, we need this gradient, and we have our product roadmap, and then we are going to have these stats. So let's do that. So I'm going to go here and I will start with a div. I'm going to give some classes to this div. So I will be having space y, and I will give the space y as 8. After that, what I will do is I'm going to have my gradient header, and on this gradient header, let me have the title. So the title will be product roadmap, and then I'm going to have my subtitle. So for the subtitle, I will just do a copy paste of it. After that, what we will do is we are going to first have the stats overview, and after the stats overview, we are going to have the overall progress. And after the overall progress, what we will do is we are going to have our roadmap columns. So after this, we are going to have our these roadmap columns. Okay, so let's start with the stats overview first. So in the stats overview, we are going to create those cards. So I'm going to have a div. I'm going to give the classes to this div. So we're going to have the grid. I will be having the grid call as 1. For medium devices, we are going to have the grid call as 2, and for large devices, we are going to have the grid call as 4. Okay, and I'm going to give the gap between this grid as 6. Now inside that, what we will do is here we should not have a space, and inside that we are going to create our card, and inside this we will be having the card content. So I will have the card content, and for the card content, let me have the classes to it. So I'm going to give the classes as padding top as 6, and for the card also we need to provide some classes. So I will be having the border L4. After that, I will be having the border L as blue 500. Then inside the card content, what we will do is we are going to have a div. I'm going to give the class name to this div. I will be having the flex. I will have the items as center. Then I'm going to have the justify content as center. Then we are going to create another div, and inside that we are going to have the paragraph. So for this paragraph, I'm going to have the total features, and then I'm going to create another paragraph, and in that I'm going to have my posts dot length. Okay, now for this div, we don't want to provide anything here. What I will do is I will provide the text sm. We will be having the text mutate foreground, and for this one I will have the class name. I will be having the text 3xl. Then we are going to have the font as bold, and then I'm going to provide the icons for this. So I will be having the target icon, and we can have the classes to it. So I'm going to have the class as height 10, width 10, and we will be having the text as blue 500. Now if we go and check, so if I go here, then we see that this is what it looks like, and if we go here, then it looks like something this. So we have to fix our CSS. So if I go back here, so let's go and let's change this to space between. Okay, so now this looks fine. Now let's do the other one. So what I will do is I can just do a copy paste now. So I will take this card and I'm going to copy this card. So I will have it here, and then I'm going to copy this, and instead of the blue, this time I'm going to be using purple. So I will just remove this, and I will be having purple. This will be same here. The total features will get changed to total votes. Here we are going to have the total votes we have already calculated. If we go and check, then we have this one as well. We will also need to change the icon. So for the total votes, the icon will be bar chart. So I will have the bar chart 3. Then I'm going to just copy this and I'm going to put it here. Instead of the purple, we are going to change the purple to green. So I will be having green. We're going to change this to completed, and this will get changed to now group post dot completed, and we need to have the length of it. And the last one, so I'm going to just copy it again and I'm going to put it here, and the last one is the average vote. So I'm going to select this and I'm going to change this to yellow color. this is going to get changed to average votes, and the value would be get changed to the average votes. Okay, so if we go here, then we have all the four. Now after that, the next part we need to build is the roadmap progress. So let's go and let's work on that. So we're going to have this one, the overall progress, and here also we need to make a card. So I will be having a card. Inside that I will be having the card header. Then inside the card header we will need the card title, and the title of the card will be roadmap progress. After that we are going to have the card description, and the description will be track the journey from idea to completion. Okay, now we have the header part done. After that we will need the content of the card. So for the content we are going to give the class name, and I will be having the space y as 6. So I will go and select 6. Then inside this, what I will do is I'm going to create a div, and I will give the class name to it as space y2. Okay, and inside that we are going to create one more div, and that div will have the class name as flex. We will be using justify as between. Then we are going to have the text sm. After that, what we will do is we are going to have a span, and on the span I will write overall completion. After that we are going to have another span, and on the another span we are going to have the class name. I will have the font as medium, and here I'm going to have the completed percentage. Okay, so we have the completed percentage, and below that I will just use the progress. So we need to import the progress ShutCN UI component. So what I will do is I will go here and I will be using the setcn latest add progress. Okay, so we have the progress one. Now maybe we can use it. So what I will do is I will be having the progress, and on the progress what we will do is we need to provide the value. So let me have the value, and our value will be completed percentage, and we will have the class name where height will be 2. So we have that one. Now once that div is done, what we will do is next we are going to have another div where I'm going to give a class names as grid. We will be having the grid column 3, and we will be having the gap as 4. Okay, after that we are going to have another div. I will be having a class name as text center, and then we are going to have inside another div where I will be having the class name as, so I will just do a copy paste of a JSX, and then I will just explain you that JSX. So I will copy and I'm going to put the JSX here. Okay, it's a simple JSX where we will be having our in progress percentage, then we will be having the planned percentage, and we will be having the completed percentage. Now if we go and check, then this is how it looks like: in progress, planned, and completed. Okay, now the next we will need to create these columns. So let's create them. So I will go here, and here what I will do is I'm going to have a div. Inside the div I will have the class name as large, and for the large I will just have the grid. After that I'm going to have the grid col 1, and for the larger device we are going to have the grid column as 4, and we will be having gap as 6. Okay, now inside that what we will do is we are first going to have our status order. So the order will be under review, then we will be having in progress, planned, and completed. So what I will do is I'm going to take our status order dot map, and when we do a map on it we get a individual status, and then what we will do is we are going to have the constant. I will take the group first, so I will be having the status group, and then from the status group we will take the status as we will be having type of status group. Okay, after that we will have a constant. I will be having the icon, and this icon will be equals to the group dot icon. So I will take the icon. Next what we will need is I will have the constant. I will have the post in group, and this is going to be equals to the grouped post, and here we are going to have the status as key of, we will be having type of our group posts. Okay, so we have this one ready. Now inside this we need to put the JSX. So I will be having a return statement here, and inside the return let's have the JSX. So this is going to be a div. I will be having a key as status, then I will give a class name. We will be having space y as 4. After that we will be having another div, and on this div I will be having the class name. Let me close this div as well, and the classes will be, I'm going to have the backtick, and I will just do a copy paste here for the classes that we are going to put it here. Now after that what we will do is we are going to create another div inside that, and this div will have the classes as, I will have the flex, I will have the items center, then we're going to have the justify between and margin bottom as 2. Okay, next we will have a div, and that div is going to have again the classes as flex. We are going to have the items as center and the gap of 2. Once we have this div, we are going to put the icon now. So I will have the icon, and the classes to the icon is, so I'm going to put the backtick. We're going to give the height as 5, width as 5, and then I'm going to use the group text color. If we go and check, then if I come here, then we see that we have the icons. Now we need to display the content inside, which will be this one. So let's do that one. So after the icon, we are going to have an h2 tag, and on this h2 tag we will be having the group dot title. Now we will also need to provide the classes to it. So our classes will be, so I will use this backtick again, and this is going to be text large. We will be having the font as semi bold, and after that we will need the color. So I will be having dollar, we will be having group dot text color. So we have our text as well planned and everything. Next what we will do is after that we need to provide the count. So I'm going to have the h2, and below the h2 we are going to use the badge component. Okay, and inside this badge component what I will do is I'm going to have the posts. So I'm going to change this to posts, and this is going to be post in group dot, we need to provide the length of it, and I will also need to give some classes. I'm going to have the group dot count color, and here we will also need to have the variant. So our variant will be secondary. Okay, so we have the badge ready. Now after the badge what we will do is we are going to have a paragraph tag, and inside the paragraph tag we are just going to use the group dot description, and let me give the classes to it, and this will be text sm, and then I will be having text mutate foreground. But here we see that this is here, so let's fix that. Okay, so this is here. Now here we need to have the badge ending, so I'm going to cut this and I'm going to have it here. Okay, so now it should be fine. Now let's display all the post below this. So what I will do is I will have the paragraph, and here we are going to have all the posts. So I will have a div, I will close that div, and here we're going to give the classes as a space y3, and below this we are going to loop through all the posts. So I will have the posts in group, and let's apply a map on it that is going to give us the individual post. And after that what we will do is we are going to have this arrow function. Now here we are going to have our JSX, so I will be using the card component, and for that card we need to give a key. So the key would be the post dot id. Okay, then we will provide the class name. So I will just do a copy paste of the class names here. Okay, so we have all the classes. Now inside that we are going to have the card header, and on the card header what we will do is I will give the classes as pb padding bottom as 3. After that we are going to have the card title, and the title of our card will be, so I will be having the class name text sm, and then I will be having the font as medium, and in this we're going to use the post title. So I will be having the post title. Now after having the card title we will be having our card description. So I will be having the card description, and the value would be I'm going to have the post dot author dot name of the author, and also apart from that we will be having the post dot votes dot length, and then here I will have the votes. In between I can just give a pipe symbol. So if I go and check, then I have this additional space Nathan, I have pipe and the votes that are available. Okay, we have all this. Now after the header is completed, the next we will need is the card content. So I will come here and I will be having the card content, and in the card content I will first give the classes as bottom 3, and inside that I will be having a div. I will have a class name to this div as flex. I need justify between, and then I will have the items as center. Okay, inside that what we will do is we are going to have a badge, and the badge will contain the category. So I will be having the post dot category. We need to provide some classes, so I will be using a variant. The variant would be outline, and there will be some classes. So I will be having the text as access. Okay, so we have the category as well. After category, we will be having the status. So I will be having the status is equals to in progress, and we will be having. So if I go here and if I go here, then we see that we have this Alex mate and then we have the feature. So we have a very similar here, but if it's a progress, we need to make it as an active. If it's a completed, we need to make it as a shipped. So that is what we are going to do now. So I will go back here. So I will have that if it's in progress, then in that case, what we want is we will be having a div, and I will just do a simple copy paste of it. So I'm going to have a copy and I'm going to put it here, the JSX. Okay, we will just have the clock. But if that is not the case and if the status is completed, so if I change this and if I have a completed, then in that case this is going to be check circle, and instead of the active we will be having here shipped. Right now we will not be able to see because we have all our post in the under review stage, so we will not be able to see anything. When we create the admin part and when we try to change the status, we will see the values getting updated here. So if I go back here, we have the card content, then we have the card, and we have this one. Now if there are no, so here there is no post, so we need to display there are no posts available. I'm going to have our post in group dot length, and if this length is equals to 0, then in that case I want to display a JSX, and this JSX will be I will have the card. On the card I will give the classes as I will have the border dashed, and we will have the opacity as 60, and after that I will have the card content, and in the card content I will give the classes. I will have the padding on y-axis as 8, and I will have the text is in the center. Now inside that I'm going to have a paragraph tag. We will put the classes on this as text sm, and we will be having the text mutate foreground. Okay, and here I can have no items in this stage. All right, now let's go and let's check. So if I go here, then you see that no items in this stage. So now this part is ready. The values are not getting changed anything because we have no way to change the status of any of the post. Now this can be changed with the help of the admin features that we are going to build. So what I will do is first we need an admin link. So whenever you are logged in user, you should be able to see an admin link, but you can only go to the admin page if you have a role admin. So we will do that one. So let's go to the navbar first. So I'm going to go to the navbar, and inside the navbar we are going to add that one. So after feedback link here, I'm going to add here as admin link. And if you are signed in, so if you are signed in, then you will be able to see this link. So I will have a link, and on this link you will need an href, and you will have the /admin. And then what I will do is I'm going to close this link. Here I will give some classes to it. So I will just do a copy paste of the classes, and in the link the content. So first let's have the icon. So I will be using the icon as shield, and I will give here the classes as height we want 4 and the width will be 4, and here we are going to add the admin. So if I go here, we will see that we have the admin. If I click on it, then we come to the admin page. Now let's design this admin page. So if I go here and if I log in with an admin, so let me log into the admin. Now if I click on sign in and let me log in with the admin, so I will have the admin @example.com. I will give the password and I'm going to click on continue. Okay, so now I've logged in with an admin. So if I go here, we see we are admin, and if I click on the admin, then we will go to the dashboard. So this is the dashboard looks like, where you can just click on edit and change the statuses. So we are going to do the same thing. So let's go back and let's do that one. So if I go back here, we have this admin. Let's go to the admin page. So I'm going to go here and I will be on the admin page. Now since the admin page is visible to everyone, so this is a normal user who can also see the admin page, but we are going to fix that. All right, so what we will do here is the first thing is we need to fix that only admin user can see the admin page. So I will have a constant, and this constant is going to give me the user ID from the Clerk Auth. So I will have the auth. Okay, and now I'm going to check that if we don't have any user ID, then in that case we need to redirect to the user on the sign in page. So I will be having the slash sign in. Okay, and we need to get the redirect imported, so it will not be from here. I will remove it, and this redirect will be next navigation. So I will be having redirect from next navigation. But if this is not the case, then what I will do is I will take that user and I will go to the await prisma dot user dot find unique. Okay, and I will find with the user ID. So I will have here, and I need to provide a where clause. So I will be having a where clause, and in the where clause I will be having that clerk user ID is the user ID or not. Okay, if that is the case, then what I will do is that if there is no user or user dot role is not equals to admin, then in both the cases I need to redirect it to the home page. So I will have here redirect to slash. But if that is not the case, now what I will do is I'm going to get all my post. So I will have the post equals to await prisma post dot find many. So I'm going to get all my post, and I will be including let's include the author true, and we will be having the votes as true. Then I will be doing order by, and we're going to have the created at as in descending order. So if I come here now and if I go to the admin, then you see that now I cannot go to the admin page. It's taking me back to the home page. But if I just remove this condition, then if I click on admin, then you see that I go to the admin page. So that's the check we are making it. All right. So if I go back here, if I just comment this out, then if I click on it, I will not be able to go. But if I log in with an admin user, so I log out, I click on sign in, I will have the admin@example.com. Okay, there is no account with this. So what I will do is it is a gmail.com, and I'm going to give the password, and I'm going to click on login. Okay, now here if you go and see that I'm an admin user, if I click on the admin, I can go to the admin page. So let's continue to work on. Now we need to create the gradient part first. So here what I will do is I'm going to have a div. Let me give the class name to this div. So I'm going to have the container. I will have the max auto, and inside that I'm going to have my gradient part. So I will be having the gradient header, and we need to give the title to it. So our title would be admin dashboard, and we will have the subtitle. Here I'm going to have the manage feedbacks and update their status. And after that I'm going to create a admin feedback table component. So if I go here, then we are going to create a new file that will be admin feedback table.tsx. Right now I don't have anything inside that. So what I will do is I'm going to create a simple function, export default. We will have our function, and we will give the name as admin feedback table. Okay, we are going to return something here. So I will be having here admin feedback table. Okay, so now I can use it here. So what I will do is here I'm going to have the admin. I will have the admin feedback table. So I will be providing a prop for the post. So I will have here post, which will be equal to the posts. Now we need to have a prop in our admin feedback table. So I will go back here, and here I'm going to have my posts, and this is going to be post any array. Okay, I will just disable the linting. So we have this one. Now what we will do is first we will be having a constant, and I'm going to create a state variable for editing post ID. So I will be having editing post ID. So this is the ID we are going to get it whenever we click on the edit to any of the row. So if I go here, when you click on the edit button, we need the ID of that. So that will be the editing post ID. Then I will set the editing post ID. After that, what we will have is I'm going to have the use state, and we are going to have here the value as string or null, and the initial value will be null. Okay, so that is what we want. Since we are using use state, we need to make our component a client component. So I will be having the use client. The next thing we need is the post status. So whenever you make a change in the status, then you will also need that status. So I will be having the post status, and here it will be set post status. This will be equals to the use state. So I will be having the use state, and whenever you do this one, the type will be a record which will contain the string, and here the initial value will be, we are going to have the object dot from entries, and here I will have my post dot map. Let me have a individual post, and then here I will have the post dot id, and I will take the post dot status. Okay, so I am just taking the post id and the post status whenever you make a change. So if I go here and let's say you're making a change here, so here I need the id of this post and I need the status that you are changing. So I have those two. Okay, now let's go and let's work on the JSX part. So on the JSX side, what we will do is we are going to create that table. So I'm going to come here and I will be having here a card. Now inside the card, I'm going to have the card header, and inside that let's have the card title. So I will be having the card title, and the title would be manage feedback. Card is not imported, so let me import the card. All right, after the header we will be having the card content. So I will be having card content, and in the card content let's have the table first. So I will be having a table, and the table we will need from the setcn UI. So let me go back here, and here I'm going to add the table. So let me have the table. All right, so we have the table. Now let's go and let's use that table. So I will be having table from the UI table. Okay, and now inside the table we will be having the table header, then we will be having the table row, and inside the row we will be having the table head, and then we can have the title here. Okay, I will just do a copy paste for all the other headings. So I will copy, copy. Okay, one we will have the title, then we will have the category. After that we are going to have the votes. So I will have the votes. Next we are going to have the author, then we are going to have the status, and then we are going to have the actions. Okay, if I go and check, then we have this table here where we have all the headers. Now after this we need to get the table body. So we're going to have the table row, table header, and after the table header I'm going to create the table body. Now inside the table body we will be having the posts, map on it. We're going to take the individual post. I will be having an arrow function. Now inside that we need to display the category design. So if I go here, then we have this category design. So let's take the category design first. So I will be having a constant. I will have the category design, which will be equals to the get category design, and what design we need is we will be using the post dot category to get the design. Then we are going to have the icon also. So I will be having category icon, and this will be equals to the category design dot icon. Okay, so we have the icon and this one. Then what we will do is we are going to return the JSX, and in the JSX first we will have the table row, and in this row what I will do is I will have the key as post dot id. Okay, then I will also give the classes to it, and the classes would be height as 70 pixel. So I have this table row, then we are going to have the table cell, and inside the table cell first let me have the classes to it. I'm going to have the font medium. We will be having the max width as XS. After that we will be using truncate, and then we will be having the align middle. So I will be having the align middle. Next what we need is in this we are going to use the post dot title. Then we are going to have the another table cell, and for the next table cell we will just keep the align middle, and here the value would be we need to provide the badges. So I have the badges here. So let me have the badges. So I'm going to change this, and here I'm going to have the badge, and inside the badge what we will do is we are going to use the post dot category. Okay, now this badge will have a variant, so we need to provide a variant as outline, and we will also need to provide the classes. So for the classes what I will do is it's a design, so it will be dollar. We will be having the category design dot border, and then we will be having dollar category design dot text. So we have the post category. We will also need to have the icon. So I will be having the category icon, and we will need to give the classes to that icon as height 3, width 3. This height should be 3. So we have this as well. Then we will be having the vote count. So let's go and let's have the third table cell. So I'm going to copy again this table cell. I will come here, and here I will keep the align middle. And inside this what I will do is I'm going to have a div. Will give the classes to this div. So I will be having class name, and the class name would be flex item center, and we will be having the gap as 2. Okay, Inside that, what we will do is we are going to have the thumbs up icon. So I will be having thumbs up icon, and for the thumbs up icon, we will need to give the classes. So I will have the classes height as 3, width as 3, and here we will be having, so I'm going to cut this, and just below I will have the post votes dot length. Okay, we have that one. Now I'm going to copy, and let's have the fourth one, which will be the author. So for the author, what we will do is we are going to have the table cell. We will have the same here. Instead of the thumb, this time we will be having the user icon, and after the user icon, what I will do is I'm going to have a span here, and in this span, so I'm going to cut this and I'm going to add it. We are going to have this one, author dot name, and here I'm going to give the classes. So I will be having a truncate if it's a bigger name, then I will have the max width as 100 pixel. So I will have the 100 pixel. Okay, if I go here, then we see that we have the user icon and we also have the usernames. And if I go here, then here also we just truncate the usernames. Next, we need the statuses. So let's create the select drop down for the status. So I'm going to go here. I will copy this table cell. I will come here and I will add it. First, we will need the align, and after that, what we will do is if I go here, then you will see that when you click on the edit, it gets changed to a select drop down. Okay, so what I will do is I'm going to go here, and here I'm going to create a constant as is editing. So I will be having a constant is editing, and this constant will be that if you have this editing post ID, and that is equals to the post ID that we are on. So I will have the post ID, then in that case I get this flag. I can also have the current status that has been for that. So this is going to be current status, and the current status will be the post status, and when you pass a post ID to it, so I will have the post ID to it. Now where is this post status is? We have this post status. All right, so we are not setting the values yet, but we will soon see that how we are setting the value, but currently we are just using these values. Okay, so I will go back here, and here is I'm going to have this, and I will have that if it's editing, then in that case I want to display some JSX. If not, then I have to display some other JSX. First, write that if it's not in the editing phase. So here this is not in the editing phase, then in that case we'll simply show the status that has already been associated with the feedback. So here I will just have a JSX, and then here I will first just have a JSX so that we don't see any error. Now here I'm going to replace this with a badge. All right, now in this badge, what we will do is we are going to have the variant, and our variant is outline. So let me have the outline. Now after that, we need to provide some classes to it. So I'm going to use the backtick. I will have the flex. I will have the items as center. I will have the gap as 2, and apart from that, first I will just take the status group, and in this we will pass the current status that we have for this as key type of status group. So I will be having the status groups. Okay, now after that, what we will do is if this is there, then we are going to take the count color. All right, now after that, we need to get the icons. So if I go here, then we need to get these icons. So what I will do is we are going to create a function here. That function is going to give us the status icon. So I'm going to go here, and here I'm going to create a function as constant get status icon, and when you pass a status of type string, so I will have a type string. This is going to be an arrow function. Then in that case, what we will do is we are going to first have the status group, which is going to be equals to the status group. We will pass our status inside that. So let me have the status inside that, which will be a key as key of type of status group. Okay, now once we have the status group, what we will do is we can have that if we don't have a status group, then we will just return null. But if that is not the case, then we will have a constant. We will have the icon, which will be equals to the status group dot icon. Okay, and then we are going to just return that icon. So I'm going to have the icon. We will have some classes to that icon where height would be 3, width will be 3, and margin right will be 1. Okay, so now we can use this get status icon. So if I go back here, then here we can have the get status icon, and we can pass our current status. Okay, and since this is a function, so we need to add the brackets here. All right, so we have that one. Now after the icon, we need to display the status as well. So to display the status, we will again have the status group, and inside the status group we are going to use the current status as key of type of status group. Okay, and if that is, then we need to just take the title of it. So I will have the title. Okay, if we go and check, then we will see that we have the status and their title. Now we need to have the actions where we can just click on edit and we can have the save and close button. So what I will do is I will go back here. We still have to write this part, but we will just write that one. So I'm going to go here. I will create a new table cell and I will give the classes to it. So I'm going to have the class as align middle. Now inside this, what we will do is we are going to use the same flag that if it's editing, then in that case we need to display some JSX, but if that is not the case, then we need to display some other JSX. So now if it's in editing, then what we will do is we are going to display the button. So I will be having the button, and what button we want to display is let me have the size first. So I will be having a size as small, then I will have a on click on that button, and then we're going to have the class names. So for the class name, I will have the gap as 1 and I will have the height as 8. Okay, and the value would be save. So I'm going to have a save icon and I will be having the content as same here, the button label as save. And let me give the classes to it. So I'm going to have the class height as 3 and then the width will be 3. Okay, so this is the save button. Now there is another button which is the cross if you want to cancel edit. So this is going to be SM. I'm going to add the variant to it. So I will be adding a variant here. Okay, and this variant is the ghost variant. So I'm going to have the variant as ghost. Okay, then this is going to be a small. We will have a function here. So here we are going to have the save status when you want to click on the save, and you need to pass the post ID. Okay, but if you cancel it, then here you're going to have the cancel editing, and when you want to cancel also you need to pass the post ID. So we have these two. Now here we're going to have the cross icon. So I will simply have the X, and here I'm going to have the cancel, or if you don't want to write anything, then you can just click on the X button. Okay, but if that is not the case, then what we will do is we need to have another button that will show us the edit. So I'm going to copy this button and I'm going to go here and I will have the edit here. So I will have the button size will be SM. I want to change the variant. The variant will be outline, and when you click on it, you will be having here as start editing, and you will give the post ID. You will be having the gap, everything here. This icon will get changed to edit, and then we give the label as edit. Okay, so now what we will do is we will first create these three functions: the save, cancel, and the edit. So I'm going to go up, I'm going to come here, and I will have the constant, I will have the start editing. So if we have the start editing, we are going to get the post ID, which will be of type number, and this is also going to be a number, and here we will be having the post ID as number. So let's change everywhere number, and then this is going to be an arrow function. Now what we will do is here we will also have another function. So I will have the another one, and here I'm going to have the cancel editing. Okay, now when you start the editing, you need to store the original status. So what I will do is to store the original status, I'm going to create a one more state variable, and that is going to have the original status. I will have the set original status, which is going to be equals to use state. Now in the use state, it is going to be of type record. So I will have a record, and this is going to have the post ID. So our post ID is of type number, and then it is going to have the status. So our status will be of type string, and then we provide the initial value, and the initial value will be an empty. So when you click on the start editing, in that case, what we will do is we are going to set the original status, and in the original status, what we will do is we are going to have our previous values, and then we'll have the new values. So our new values will be dot 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 previous values, and the new value we will have the post ID, and I will be having here the original status of that post ID. So this is what just we are keeping the original status when we are start doing the editing. Now when we do the cancel, what we will do is in the cancel we will just do the opposite, we'll just clear it. So we will have that if we are going to have the original status of this given post ID, then in this case what you will do is you're going to have the set post status, we're going to have the previous value, and then we will have dot 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 previous, we are going to have the post ID, and we will be having the original status of that post ID. Alright, so we are doing the start editing. We are keeping the original status, and if you do a cancel editing, then we are just updating this our post status. Alright, we have these two functions. Now the third function was the save status. Whenever we click on the save status, we will be having the constant save status, and this is going to be an arrow function. Okay, right now I will not write the save status, but if I go back here, we see that we get some errors. Okay, so we will go back here. Now when we go here, what we will do is we are going to, okay, so we need to get this post ID. So let's have the post ID first. So I'm going to go here. I will have the post ID as number, and here we miss one thing, that when we do the cancel editing, what we need to is we need to have the set editing post as null, because there is no editing post now. Okay, and here we are going to have the set editing post, and we'll give the post ID. Okay, so we see that we have an error. Okay, so what I have missed here is we are going to have an arrow function here. Okay, so this will be cancel editing. We are going to have the arrow function here as well for save status, and we are going to have the arrow function for our start editing. All right, now we will go and write our this part, that if it's an editing, then we need to have that particular drop down where we can select the status. So what I will do is I'm going to come here. I will have the select, and we will also have the select from the SignIn UI. So I'm going to just install that. So what I will do is I'm going to have the select, and we will just add it. Okay, so we have the select as well. Now what I will do is I'm going to go here again, and this time I'm going to have the select from the UI select. Now in this, what we will need is, first we need to give the value, and we are going to give the value of the current status first. So let me have the current status. After the value, what you will do is that whenever you have a on value change, then in that case you will take the value, then you need to call the handle status change. All right, now in this handle status change, I will give the post ID, and I will give the new value. Right now we don't have a handle status change, but we are going to create that. Now after that, what we need to do is we need to have that select drop down. So I will have the select trigger, and I will give the classes here. So the classes will be width, I will have 140 pixel. Now inside that, I'm going to have the select value. Now for the select value, what I will do is I'm going to have a div. For the div, I'm going to give the classes. So I will have the classes as flex, and I will have the items center. Okay, and this should be div, and inside that, what we will do is we are going to have the get status icon, and we are going to use the current status. So once we will do that one, so if I go here, then when you click on it, you see that there is an icon inside as well. So we get the icon. Now after getting the icon, the next we need is the title. So for getting the title, what we will do is we are going to same have the status group for the current status as key of type of status group, and if that is available, then we need a title of that one. All right, so we get the title. Now we have the div ending, and after that, what we will do is we are going to have the select content, and in the select content we will do the all the statuses. So we are going to have the status order. So I will have the status order, we will put the map on it, then we are going to have the status. Okay, now this is going to be an arrow function. Now here what we will do is we are going to have a first, we are going to have the constant status group, which will be equals to the status group. We are going to pass the status here, whatever the status we have, as key of type of status group. Okay, then what we will do is we are going to have the icon also. So I will have the constant icon, which will be equals to this status group dot icon. So I will have the icon. Okay, we get the icon also. Now we return a JSX from here. So I will have the return a JSX, and in this we are going to have the select item. All right, now this select item is the list of the items we will have it here. So this is the list of the items that we will have it. So I'm going to go back here, and in the select item we need to give the key. So I'm going to have the key as status. After that, I'm going to have the value, and the value would be status. So I will have the status again. Okay, then what I will do is I will simply do a copy paste of a small JSX, which is going to display that. So I'm going to copy, and I'm going to put it here. All right, so we have that. If we go and check, if I click on it, then if I click here, then we see that we have some UI breaks, and it should look something like this. So let's go and let's check. So if I go here, then is this imports? So I can go here. Okay, so the imports are wrong. So what I will do is I'm going to cut this, and I'm going to take all this from our UI select. Okay, now if I come here, now we see that we can select any one which we want, but we get an issue because we did not handle that part. So let's go back here, and if I go here, then we need to handle this handle status change. So let's go and let's do that one. So I'm going to go here up, I'm going to create a function constant handle status change, and in this we are going to get the post ID, which is a number, and then we're going to get the new status that we have, and that is going to be of type string. This is going to be an arrow function. Okay, now what we will do is we are going to change the post status, and in the post status we're going to have the previous value, we're going to have an arrow function, and here I'm going to take the previous value dot 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 previous value, and then we are going to set the new. So I'm going to have the post ID and whatever the new status we have received. So I'm going to have the new status. Okay, so we have set that one. Now after setting this, what we need to do is if I go back here, and now if I select it, then you see the values are getting set. Whatever the value I'm setting, it's getting set here. Now after the under review, it goes to the planned, and when we click on the save, it should save in our database. So let's work on that save part. So currently our save function is not ready. So what I will do is first let's make this as an async. If I come here, now what we will do is we are first going to have show loading toast. Okay, so let's create the loading toast. So I will have a constant, I will have the loading toast, which is going to be equals to the toast dot loading, and we provide the text here. So I will be having saving status dot dot dot. Now after that, let's have the try catch block, and let's make the API call. So in the try, I will have the constant response, which is going to be equals to the await fetch, and we need to fetch the URL API slash feedback slash, we're going to have the post ID. So I will be having a dollar post ID, then we will be having slash, we will be having status. Let's have the backticks. So we have this one. Now after this, we need to have the method. So our method will be post, then we are going to have the headers, and in the headers I will have the content type, and our content type would be application slash JSON. Okay, next what we need is we need to provide the body. So I will be having body here, and this will be JSON dot stringify, and then we are going to have the status, and the value would be post status, and provide the post ID. So we will get the status of it. And now what we will do is that if the response dot okay, so if there is no response dot okay, we are going to throw new error, and that error will be failed to update status. Okay, but if that is not the case, then what we will do is we are going to dismiss the loading toast, and here we will be having toast dot dismiss, and we will be having the loading toast. Okay, then we will show the success one. So I will have the success, and here we will be having feedback status updated successfully. Okay, so that's how we will do it. Now after updating the feedback status, what we will do is we are going to have the set editing again as null, because the edit has been done. But if that's not the case, and if we get some error, then we will have the console error, and in the console error we will be having failed to update status, and then we will just have the error here. Now what we will do is after having the error, we need to dismiss the toast here as well, the loading toast. So we will be having dismiss loading toast, and then we're going to have the toast error. So I will have the toast error, and here we are going to have the failed to update feedback status, please try again. All right, so we have this one. Now if you want to give a try, so what I will do is I'm going to click on edit, and I will take this and I will make it as planned, and if I click on the save, then you see the saving status, and we see that the failed to update the status. So we need to check that. So first it is going to be 2, and let's go and let's check. So I go here, and if I go here, then we see that we have the feedback 5 status 405. All right, and this 405 status means that the method is not allowed. So maybe we made a mistake. If I go and check my API, so if I go here, I check the API, then this API is a patch API, and I have made a mistake here that I put it as a post API. Let me change it to patch. Okay, now I can give a try, and if I click on the edit and if I do a plan and if I click on the save, then we still get an error. So let's go back and let's check. So if I go here, then we get an error here as ID invalid. It should be an int and we are providing it as a string. So what I can do is I can go here. This is the param we have, and whenever I am using this param, here is the post ID of its param, and whenever I am using it here, before using it here, what I will do is I'm going to have the constant numeric post ID. This will be equals to, I'm going to use the number and I'm going to use the post ID here. And now I can just copy this and I can use it here. So it should have a proper numeric value. So now let's go and let's give a try. So if I change this to review, cancel, if I click on edit, I change it to plan. If I click on the save, then we see that this feedback status updated successfully. If I go to the database and if I go to the post, and here if we see the post number 5, which is this one. So if I go here, then we see that the status get changed to planned. Now if I go to the roadmap, then here you will see that values have been changed. This has come to the planned one. Now let me make a change and let me make something as a complete. So what I will do is I will go back to the admin, and in the admin I will just click here. I will change this to planned first, and if I click on the save, then you see that you have the status as saved. All right, now if I go here, I'm going to make this as planned. I'm going to click on the save. This is also got updated. If I click on it, now if I want to change it complete, then we see the status gets completed. And let's make a change. So if I change this to in progress, and if I click on save, then we see the feedback status is updated successfully. Now what we will do is we can go to the roadmap and check everything. So on the roadmap, you will see that we get this NaN, which is one of the problem, and we also see that we get this completed here. This is in progress, these two are in plan, and this one is in under review, and we will check why we get the NaN for these three. All right, let's go back and let's go and check that. So if I go to the roadmap, we'll see that this is the planned percentage. So I'm going to copy and I'm going to check where I am having this. So I have this planned, and if I go to this one, so before returning, I will have a console log of everything. So I will have a console.log, and here I'm going to have the total. So this is going to be equals to total, or I will just use a backtick. So I'm going to have a backticks here, and this is going to be total. So I'm going to put the total, and then after that I will have the count. So I will have the count, and then I will have the percentage. So for the percentage, what I will do is I will have the per, and here I'm going to have the percentage as, I will just copy this. Okay, and I will put it here. Now let me give a try and check. So if I go to inspect element, if I go to console, then in the console we see that we are receiving NaN. We'll see that, and if I refresh it, then we see that we get the total as 5. We see the count as object, and we see the percentage as NaN. So maybe the problem could be in the count, and the reason here is the count, it should be dot length, because we want to calculate the length. So if I go back here now, if I refresh it, then we see the total, we get the count, and we get the percentage. And here you will also see that the progress bar is having 20%, 40%, and 20%. Now if I go to the admin, and if I make this change here, and I will change this to complete, and if I click on the save, then it's got submitted. Now if I go to the feedback, the feedbacks are also here with the proper values, completed, planned. If I go to the roadmap, now you see the 40% is completed, plan is 20%, and progress is 20%. All right, so our platform is completely ready. We can have the new feedback. So if I want to try a new feedback is build a new platform. Okay, I'm going to have this as a maybe other, and we are going to have we are building a new platform. I'm going to click on submit, and if I go to the feedback, then we see that we have a latest here, build a new platform posted by an admin. If I go to the roadmap, then we'll see we have a new here, build a new platform. And if I go to the admin section, we'll see we have this build a new platform, which is the other category, and this thing. We can also give the votes. So if I go here and if I go to the feedback, if I click on the vote here, if I click on the vote here, and now if I go to the roadmap, then we see the vote count had also increased, in progress, planned, and completed. So the platform is fully ready. Now let's see how we can deploy our platform on the Vercel. So what I will do is first let's go to Visual Studio Code, and in the Visual Studio Code, what we will do is first we need to commit this. So I'm going to click on the plus icon. All right, and I'm going to have here as initial commit. Okay, I'm going to click on the commit. Now we don't have any branch, so we need to publish it. So what I will do is I will go to the GitHub. I'm going to create a new branch, and for now I will just name it as Fusion Feedback. We can skip everything, and I'm just going to create the repository. So I will click on creating repository. Now we have the repository. Since we need to push an existing, no, we need to create a new repository. So what I will do is I'm going to do a git init. All right, so it is going to initialize this repo. Now after the git init, I'm going to have this one. So I will have the git commit and everything, nothing to working branch. I'm going to have the git branch main. So I'm going to have this git branch main. Then I'm going to do a git remote. So I will copy, I'm going to go this one. All right, and then what I will do is I'm going to just do a push. So this is going to push my changes. All right, so all my changes has been pushed. Now if I refresh it, then we should be having our code here. All right, the next thing what we will do is for the Clerk, since we are going to deploy it on the Vercel, it doesn't allow me to go to the production version. So if I click here, then if you click on the create production instance, and if you clone it, then it will ask you for the domain, and since my domain will be .vercel app, so it will not allow me to do that. So what I can do is I will just go with the same setup, the development one. So I'm going to go to the Vercel now. So let me go to the Vercel. I'm going to click on add new. I'm going to click on project. I will use this one, Fusion Feedback. So I'm going to click on the import. Now this is a Next.js. So what I will do is we will also need to provide the env variables. So here I'm going to copy all my environment variables. So I will go back here. I will go here and I will go to my .env file. All right, I'm going to copy everything and I'm going to add everything here. Okay, so I have it all here. Now I'm just going to click on the deploy and let's see what happens. So if you have another domain, then instead of these Clerk publishable keys, you will have the pk as _live and not test. And since I'm using the test one, so that's why you see it here, test. Now let's see, it's getting deployed. So there are some warnings, that's fine. Okay, so we see that we get an error here. So if I scroll down, if I go here to inspect deployment, then we see that we get an error. And what is the error is, okay, so since I see that there is an error of this number and string is not assignable to a number. Okay, and I will make this as a string. Okay, so now let's give a try. So if I go here, then I will just add this and I will have a fix applied. I will commit and I will push my changes. We click on OK. All right, so now what I will do is now we can have a redeployment. All right, so I'm going to click on view all branch deployments and we see that the new deployment is in progress where we have applied the fix. So let's go and let's wait. All right, so now we can see that we have this one. If I go to the app, then we see that our app is deployed. I can also do the theming. All right, now if I click on the submit feedback, then it also take me to the sign in page. So I can just sign in with my admin URL first. It was the admin gmail.com. I'm going to click and I will have the password. I'm going to click on continue and you see that I go to the share your feedback page. Then you can just share a feedback here. If I go to the admin, then we will be able to see all the admin stuff. I can just change any of the status. So I can click here and I can change the status as planned. I can click on the save and you see that saving status and the feedback is saved. We can go and the feedback and we can just check. So here the feedback will get changed. I can also go on the roadmap and we can just see that everything is changed here. All right, so the app is completely working. We have also deployed it on the Vercel and we have used the authentication for the Clerk. You can find all the details about the Clerk in the description of the video so that you can check it out later on. All right, so that's all I have in this video. I hope you liked the video. A thumbs up is appreciated. You can also connect with me via Facebook or Instagram. You can follow me on Twitter for latest updates, and before you go, don't forget to subscribe the channel or press the bell icon so that you don't miss the videos like this one. Thank you. Thanks for watching.